Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Today we're going to address an issue that popped up on our brother Tariq's podcast the other night, where he was talking about. I'm paraphrasing our dear brother, but he was talking about the dangers of allowing people to erase your culture, and what foundational Black Americans have realized in the last year or so, maybe before then, but it's just been real heightened in the last, maybe 13 months or so, maybe longer, is that there's this cultural erasure of uh, foundational Black American culture and history. Our achievements and talents have been absorbed by other groups, and if not absorbed by other groups, are just said to be American, which is fine. However, when we say, "Well, no, 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 we created rap," no, 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 we created hip hop, no, 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 we created the light bulb. It's like, bam, you can't have it. No, it's mine. Well, that's very dangerous. When I was listening to this podcast, Ex Post Facto, after the fact, I realized, oh shit, Tariq is right. This is that more dangerous than we realize. This tactic of erasing culture and absorbing culture into the vague mass of a country is a ring a bell of Nazi Germany to me. Before Nazi Germany could attack whole groups of people. Now it wasn't just the Jews. The Jews get it was very horrible and terrible what happened to them. But as a historian to my students, I always point out that blacks, mulattoes, and LGBT people were sent to those concentration camps too, along with special needs. They also sent people we would call, the term used to be retarded, but that's not cool now. You can't say that now. In the educational disabled, yes. The word now is exceptional, but I think exceptional is misleading because exceptional can mean either below the norm or
Also, Jehovah's Witnesses.
oh wow, they really did. I didn't. You're serious.
Yeah.
Wow, didn't know that. See, I learned something every day. Our sister Wani said they sent Jehovah's Witnesses as well. That's crazy. Well, what I want to identify to you guys is the tactical strategy of war. So get out your pen and paper. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and put it in the Jumbotron. That strategy that we're being attacked with is Rule 30, communication. Comms, baby. That's where we're being attacked. I'm putting it in the Jumbotron just a second. Rule 31 is in there too, but oh well. You get the point. Let's see. Cancel. We're going to do post. All right. So Rule 30. This comes from Robert Greene's Rules of War. Very beautiful book, dangerous book. Robert Greene has had some health issues after writing this book, serious health issues. And to be honest with y'all, I've wondered, are they poisoning Robert Greene? Like he gives the game straight. He tells the story. He tells how it works. This is what Napoleon did. This is what Hannibal did. This is what Hitler did. This is why it worked, and this is how you can reverse it. It's just too much information, really. So anyway, I think they've tried to have him killed. But anyway, if you look at if y'all look at it with me, Rule 30 says penetrate their minds, communication strategies. It goes like this. Um, my phone's not cooperating. All right, here we go. Communication is a kind of war. It is a field battle. It is a field of battle the resistant and defensive minds of the people want to influence. This is the goal. The goal is to penetrate their defenses, occupy their minds, learn to infiltrate your ideas behind enemy lines, sending messages through little details, luring people into coming to the conclusions you desire, into thinking they've got there by themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been my whole childhood. I'm an 80s baby. I'm a very early millennial. And it's been people in control of our music industry. What did Robert Greene say? Sending little messages through little details, right? Well, we've uncovered on Spaces, these details didn't even come from us, God damn it. They came from Luke. Luke is a Caribbean. They come from people that who ran the goddamn um, the music industry. You see what I'm saying? It's coming from immigrants. But The question is erasure the first step to genocide? And are all, we'll get to all Euros guilty of slavery. That's a secondary. But first and foremost, is erasure the first step to genocide? What do you think, Wani?
I think it is. It's definitely, and we've suffered some genocides. And one of the first forms of erasure was when that lady immigrated here and wrote a poem about how the Statue of Liberty is about immigrants. Bring us your huddled and your poor. That was just a, behind the scenes, basically paying to have that poem shoved up as an inscription on a plaque. That was a blatant erasure. I don't know how someone can immigrate to another person's country and then take the meaning, which was supposed to be a memorial for the um, Emancipation Proclamation and winning the Civil War. Winning the Civil War and the freedom from slavery, symbolized by the chains around the feet being broken, and to come into someone else's country and change anything, the audacity of it, and to go behind the scenes and pay money knowing that probably somebody was just pocketing the money or just something, just buying your way into someone else's culture. That's one of the most blatant things that I've seen. And one of the first things, no, we're not talking about music. That's when the first attitude of that, and we don't know, pay attention to it. We just accepted it. Why would we even think that that wasn't the meaning? No one even delves into it. They'll argue, they'll bet you $100, like DJ was saying. They'll swear up and down that that statue is about immigrants and it has nothing to do with immigrants. It was simply an immigrant trying to change the United States of America to suit their wishes.
Now, Wani, our sister Wani brought up the Statue of Liberty. I wrote a scholarly book on Black history exclusively for for the Black family while I was certified faculty at Lemoyne Owen College of Education. I was a professor and administrator there. No longer there, but I was. And the book is for sale. I talk about that on page 15 of my book. I say, according to me, quote, the Statue of Liberty was inspired by French abolitionist and scholar Edward de la Bolle. The Statue of Liberty was given to the United States to honor former slaves of the African diaspora to represent freedom and prosperity amongst the group. If you look at the foot of the Statue of Liberty, you will notice a broken chain, which was intended to represent the end of oppression towards us. That shit belonged to us, man. So if you want my book, go ahead and put $25 on my Cash App and put your full name. This is important, full name and address in the Cash App, and it'll be sent out to you later this week when I send the rest of the orders out. But back to the Statue of Liberty, that was created for us. Edward de la Bolle and a lot of French people are racist, but their racism is cultural. Their racism is different. That's why um, blacks and mulattoes in Louisiana got more rights than us. It's just a fact. I'm not saying French is better, although it may be. It's different. If you identified as French, they could forgive the way you look. Still that way to this day.
Forgive,
What do you say?
forgive.
Forgive. What do you mean?
You said they can forgive the way you look.
Yeah, well, I'm not apologizing for.
Have we seen them?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not apologizing for my beautiful lips, my beautiful nose, or my nappy hair. I'm not apologizing. I was being sarcastic, because French people are have an arrogance to them, like, and it's being explained to me by somebody. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. That I got a.
Well, I'm glad that the French failed because their goal was to give certain colors of people different rights. They weren't trying, I mean, to begin with, they had a better attitude about their interactions with Africans. I noticed that. They didn't seem to be as harsh, and but they still were trying to give certain rights to certain people of certain shades.
Yep.
So because of that, that would have fractured our community, I'm glad we rallied under the word black.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to be misunderstood. I'm not saying that I wish I was French because they can catch fire too. Yeah, that's my new term. You can fucking catch fire, but they're a racist. But it's an important distinction when we're looking at the chattel slavery trade. And I have a really close friend that she's her mom is French, and she was telling me that's the French mindset is I can forgive the way you look. Like what the fuck? But whereas the British were like, nope, you are black and you are beneath me no matter what. Like the English are just sick with being
Right.
above somebody, but the French are sick too. Because if you think of that mindset, who the fuck are you to tell me? Like I look better, you black man. We look better than them. I'm sorry, but it's true. So how dare you say I can forgive the way you look? But that's exactly how it was put to me.
It didn't stop either one of them from mass rape,
Right.
but the differences were the French were trying to organize marriages and things like that. So they had a different attitude. Portuguese sailors even impregnated a lot of African women and let the children of those unions live free. Um, so, yeah, they do have a slightly different attitude, but it still results in, you know, poor treatment.
Right. And racism. But so the Statue of Liberty was created for black women, and like Wani said, I forget the lady's name. I don't even fucking care to remember her name. But the
Emma
oh
Lazarus.
god, so that's erasure. So the Statue of Liberty, it's a fact. Listen at this, Black Americans. When the Statue of Liberty was coming over here on the boat, and the system and the powers that be, the system like white supremacy found out that it was a black woman, they immediately brought out the welders and shit to turn it into to give the Statue of Liberty a fucking makeover to turn it into a white lady. So Anna Lazarus came over later with some poetry to apply to the Statue of Liberty. Like Wani said, who gave her the right to do that? She wasn't one of us. But I'm gonna harp on that 1 second before we go to the next speaker because it's important that this lady just came over with a goddamn poem to change the what's the word, Wani? The focus of the
Meaning, yeah, the whole meaning, it had nothing to do with immigration. It had two meanings,
okay,
you know?
there it is. So if she had the power to just, hey babe, how you doing? To just write a poem to change the meaning, what's stopping? Okay, New York educators, listen to me. New York teachers and educators, how about this? How about my New York middle school and high school teachers have a project where your foundational Black American little girls and boys write a poem to say the original meaning of the Statue of Liberty? Put it in my damn jumbotron. Put it in my DM, and I will post it across Black America. And let's put that shit back up there. What it really meant. All I'm saying is we have power. All we have to do is write it down. But I digress. Yeah.
Hello, Dan Quay.
Hey, Wani, how you doing?
Okay.
All right. Interesting topic. Is erasure the first step to genocide? I believe so. I think it's a form of genocide, actually. So I wouldn't say it's the first step. I would say it's a form of genocide. I would say it's an implicit genocide without bloodshed. So I put something on the jumbotron. It's I don't know if you guys know about it. It's the Clash of Civilizations. That's a map by Samuel Huntington. So it's a theory, right? So it's not something that's cemented down. But the idea is that there's multiple civilizations in the world that are struggling against one another, and they are clashing currently. And you don't need to be of a certain race to be pushing the agenda of a civilization. So, for example, you could be black and serving the agenda of the African civilization. You could be black and serving the agenda of the Western civilization. So it kind of depends on which civilization you stand with. So I want to know what you guys think about that, and if you think that's a form of like if it enters the the what's the word,
I
The
don't think
if
I
it fits the
understand.
topic basically.
I don't understand what you mean.
Um, which
I
part?
think it's too vague.
Which part? Can you narrow it down?
Yeah, I'm not.
All of
I'm not
it?
really following you either. Um,
Um, do you know about the Clash of Civilization?
I no,
No.
I don't know. I maybe it's called something else. What do you mean by class of civilization?
Clash of
No,
Civilizations.
I heard you, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I think you should look it up. I think it fits what you're saying in terms of cultural erasure and whatnot.
Well,
So yeah.
But
speaking of, oh, go ahead, Wani.
I was just going to say the people that are doing a lot of erasure have erased themselves. They've done voluntary erasure on themselves. So we really can't expect a lot from white people. The name white is erasure. They should be Polish, Irish, Italian, English, but they're not. They're white. And they
Yeah.
really don't talk about their culture that much. So because they willingly erase themselves when they come over here to America, what do we expect them to do but try to erase us and take whatever we're doing and kick us to the curb when they get it?
Wouldn't okay, I get what you're saying, Wani, but wouldn't you say that white Americans, white Australians, and white South Africans identify with one another, as well as Europeans, as a
Sometimes
civilization, as
when
a mhm.
they're not really.
Why not?
When they're in a gang, they do, but not in their when they're not ganging up against us. So if there's no us, then they'll go back to killing each other for hundreds and hundreds of years of
Exactly. So
extended
that's
wars.
the clash of civilization that I'm talking about, the gangs. So as a black person, or as a black American, I think their agenda is to let you work for that gang, or to let Africans work for that gang, even if
Well,
those
Okay.
Africans are
I'm
in.
not gonna. I'm
What
gonna have to.
gang though?
I'm gonna have to be devil advocate right here. I can't let that go. The African, what I'm finding out in my scholarship is Africans have a class of civilization too, and first and
We do.
foremost, it irks. Hold on one second. It irks me when people say Africans because there's a continent. There's no cohesion. Let me say that again. There is absolutely no cohesion in Africa. If it was cohesion, there would be a highway from Ethiopia to South Africa. They don't get along. So I'm just being generic when I say Africa, but I'm saying let's be specific. West Africa um has a history of erasure of my fucking culture. So West Africans get a pass, have been getting a pass for the last 30 years because of my hero, one of my heroes, John Henry Clark, who defended West Africa just a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? He should have just been honest. You just let the chips fall where they may and let people decide. Don't gaslight anything. I love John Clark, but he did a little bit of gaslight. I know why he did it, but he did a little bit of gaslighting that was did a little. He did more good than he did damage. I love John Clark again. He's my homie from my home state. But we need to know that Africa engages in that goddamn cultural erasure. And for those of you who don't believe me, I could post picture after picture of Juneteenth. And matter of fact, at my PWI right now, some of the students there have had put together a Black History convention, and they got funding from the school administration. The administration gave them funding to put up a flag that says Black History Month, and it's red, black, and green. That ain't got a goddamn thing to do with us. That's erasure. That's mixing.
Right.
That is fucking erasure. So Dan, I'm sorry, brother, but I kind of don't want to hear that from you, man.
I
That
get,
whole
I
Yeah.
get what you're saying. I think you're misconstruing what I'm saying.
I might
May
be.
I ask-
I'm acknowledging, right, that there's a struggle or a clash of civilization going on the continent of Africa. If you look at the map, there's two civilizations. There's the Islamic one and the African one. But I would even
Well,
add the Western one.
I stand corrected. I misunderstood you.
Okay,
Let me ask you a
that's
quick
fine.
question, Dan.
Yeah.
Why is it that when we delineate and
Hmm.
say, no, we're us, duh,
Hmm.
everyone is a us,
Hmm.
and you're you,
Hmm.
duh, everyone has an ethnicity.
Hmm.
Why do you, some Africans, a great deal of them, the way their brain is wired, the way their brain is wired, it's like a hive mind. Why do they say the same thing?
I could
And
tell you.
that thing is the white man doesn't like you.
I
What
could
is,
tell you.
what does that have to do with it?
Because they're thinking on a civilizational level. They themselves as people. I'm not saying that that's the way it works on a global scale, or that it's effective, because clearly we have higher ups who are not serving the quote unquote African civilization, and they are agents of the Western civilization. So
But I don't understand.
that's
I don't.
where Pan Africanism fails, I guess, or you could
So if
say.
I say
But that's
I don't like
neocolonialism.
dogs, if I say I don't like dogs,
Hmm.
right? That's it. That's it. It
What do you
doesn't mean
mean?
I like cats.
Okay,
Why does your brain wire to where if we reject you as a cousin or an ally or a friend, that we somehow now like white people? Why do you two have to be involved? Can't we kick you
because
both to the curb?
I'm
Because that's
okay
what's
right
going
now. I'm
on.
gonna play devil's advocate. I
That's what's
understand what
going
you're saying.
on. We don't like them either. They need to get their shit
Okay,
together.
so if you look at the map, right, every civilization on it has millions and millions of people, more than, let's say, 200 million at the minimum. To qualify as a civilization, you need to have numbers. So if you break
Numbers, you need
away,
to have toilets, is what you need.
come on, I'm being
Not
serious here.
numbers. I am too. That's
Bruh,
not
why are you in this
civilization.
space?
Hey, what's
Hold
good?
on, somebody's talking out of turn. Let's keep it scholarly and let
Yeah,
Dan and
Yeah, because
Wani.
it's very obvious they're not here to listen. Like they
Hold
want to
on,
deliberate. You really think
El
Africa
President.
doesn't have toilets?
You keep coming off your mic. I'm gonna kick you out. I would like to hear what you say, but you're gonna have to have some decorum and some manners. Anyway, what our sister Wani was saying is members from the diaspora that are diametrically opposed to Black Americans struggle with the concept of mutual exclusivity. Now, a lot of them tell me in the professorial world, I'm more educated than you. Well, they're apparently they don't know what the fuck mutually exclusive. And since they don't know what mutually exclusive is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting it in the jumbotron. Mutually exclusive means two or more things cannot happen at the same time. For example, A and B are they have nothing to do with each other. And Wani brought up the good point that we're arguing that our love for ourselves is mutually exclusive. It don't have nothing to do with Africa. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean we hate Africa. We're not even thinking about Africa. But Africans jump in our mix, West Africans particularly, let me be specific, jump in our mix and say, no, 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 you are African. And you can say they don't, but they do it in my world, in academia. You are an African. You don't know what the fuck I am. My mom and them is Indian, or not Indian, but indigenous to America. So that's all we're saying, with all due respect. Now, I go to Africa for research. My visas are still active. I might go this summer. Maybe not. Maybe I might go to East Africa.
So when you went there, did we have toilets? Is Africa
Hold on, hold on, hold
underdeveloped?
on, hold on.
No,
Calm down, calm
no,
down.
you didn't correct her when she said we don't have
Hold
toilets.
on.
Like it's crazy.
Love. I'm gonna let you.
There isn't anything in
El,
America that Africa
El,
doesn't
El,
have. Like yo,
El Presidente. I'm gonna let you.
tell them.
Ma'am, shut
I'm gonna
up.
let you
You
have your
don't
time.
have toilets.
You need to travel. You're ignorant as fuck.
A lot of places don't have toilets that we like. They don't have
Flint, Michigan
Western.
doesn't have water.
A
And your
lot
first,
of places don't have
you're a
Western
first world
toilets.
country, and Flint doesn't
Having
have
a
water.
fucking hole in the ground is not a
Countries
toilet.
have issues,
Hey, El
and
Presidente.
Flint doesn't have
Well,
water.
that is what I was
El
referring to.
Presidente.
Holes in the
I'm
ground.
not a mute monster.
Squat
Don't
toilets.
turn me into
Squat
one.
toilets.
I'm El Presidente. I'm gonna let you have your time.
You have a lot of squat toilets, and once you get away from that fake ass capital that you have, so you can put on a public face to the world, once you get away from that, just like in other places. I'm not excluding Kazakhstan with their holes from hell
Yeah. Or
once you get away
Mexico.
from the capital, or any of these places.
What
But I'm
Do you
talking about,
what
guys know
what
anything about
what
global
our
politics
sister
at all?
shut
what our
up.
sister Wani is saying is, and I can me and Wani, I don't travel as much as she, but I travel the world frequently. Is America is the shit. Let me say that again. America is the shit. A lot of places in the world don't got their act together, and that's not again mutual exclusivity. It's not just Africa. A lot of places are just don't have it together, and we're being trained. The anger from Black Americans come from from 40 years of training, mostly by West Africans, towards us, telling us to go back home to Mother Africa. You need to come back home, to take away our land-based identity with a country that is absolute America.
Don't come back home.
Oh, don't worry, I won't.
You don't have a
I'm
fucking
home.
home.
I'm home right now. My home is
You don't have a goddamn home, you fucking vagabond. Get the fuck
So
out. You
it's
don't like
fine,
it.
and it's fine. I'm in
Get the
Africa.
fuck out. You don't like it.
right.
Hobo
As
ass.
a El Presidente,
Shut
where
your
are you
hobo
right now?
ass up.
El Pre-
Get some
I'm in
fucking.
Ghana, West
Hold on.
Oh,
I
Africa.
go
shut
to
the
I go to
fuck
Ghana
up
all the
then.
time. What city are you in
So
Ghana?
when you came there, what did you see?
Well, I went.
Why
People
why
playing
your
drums in my
celebrities come
fucking.
here all
You
the
want to
time
hear
and they
me?
enjoy
You want to hear
themselves?
me?
You
Yeah, in your fake capital,
What do you
in
see?
your fake ass capital. That's exactly right. And then when we get away from that, you know what you get? Hole in the ground, bullshit. People playing drums at you because they think you're a Christian rival, getting ready to fucking get fucked up, and I don't even know what they're doing. You get some bullshit from them dumb motherfuckers. That's what you get. Want to go play? Want to go over there and buy some property and get your head shot off because they think it's their land because they're a tribe? You want to go play with them? Go play.
well, she asked me what I see, and
Murderous ass.
she's having a hard time controlling herself. So I'm muted, which is something I rarely do. But
Well, I'm having a hard time as
it's
well.
it's okay. It's some of the stuff it would trigger.
Can I
Ignorance
finish
isn't
what I'm
bliss in
saying
this
and then you
case
guys can
because
OG?
now I'm laughing. You really think all of these things? Have you been to Africa? Have you been to Ghana? You sound so ignorant, bro. I have goosebumps.
Yes, we
You
have.
got
Been there.
goosebumps because you got parasites in your water. That's what you don't have
Sure,
goosebumps.
but look, I believe in delineating, so I agree. I don't really
So
Okay.
support
get
these.
out.
Trust
Get
me,
out.
trust me. Yeah, like I'm here because of Dan. Like I'm wondering. I was curious, right? I've had this conversation with him. I've always tried to help him understand that
With
there are
who?
African Americans that we can have
I don't know who
conversations
she
with.
talking about.
The ones that
Who?
don't want to have conversations with and are not willing to travel, there is no use. I don't agree when people are saying you're African or whatnot. Those who know who
Hold on, what is this lady talking about? She asked me when I went to Ghana, what did I see? And now she's trying to talk over me.
did,
Ma'am,
is Ghana
when I went
developed
to
or
Have you seen
underdeveloped?
have you seen it's underdeveloped and you built up your capital for a public face just like a lot of other countries did. Okay? It's not you're not rare. A lot of countries
oh,
outside of Africa have their capitals built up so people can come over so they can make some money and that's it.
so Room, I almost called y'all class. Room, she's asked me what I see. Now I'm gonna stooge her right quick. What I saw in Ghana, all across Ghana, from Cape Coast to Hohoi to the border of Togo. We did research all over Ghana. Is that picture of Jesus in the Jumbotron? That's what I saw. I saw some of the most beautiful rainforests I've ever seen in my life. Beautiful waterfalls. I'm not going to take away from the beauty, but I also saw a lot of underdevelopment and a lot of praising of white people. I saw white worship. I saw mixed children, Asian, Chinese children, and Chinese people running the show in Accra. That's what I
Why did
saw.
Michael Blackson just get ripped off for
All
$1 million
right.
over
So
there?
when do I get the opportunity to talk?
When I say so,
When,
be quiet.
when you learn how to control yourself,
Now
ma'am, I want you to
your
talk.
own people came over there. Michael Blackson, Ghanaian actor and comedian, which he's neither. He's just ugly. He went over there to his country and got ripped the fuck off. Why
So
are
look
you
in the
guys?
jumbotron,
Why
yeah.
are you ripping your own people off?
Ma'am, can you wait for Wani to get through speaking? I'm gonna give you an opportunity to speak in a moment.
I'm done.
Old news.
Okay.
Look in the jumbotron.
So in conclusion, I just wanted to answer a question. Uh, what did I see in Ghana? Outside of the colonial power structure, let me say that again. Outside of the colonial power structure in Accra, I saw some of the most beautiful rainforests and beautiful people I've ever met in my life. But the people who run Ghana, the people who are related to the slave trade who sold us, I saw shit flowing through the streets. And I'm talking about the really nice neighborhoods. You want me to give you a neighborhood? Osu, your little swanky neighborhood in downtown Ghana, it was shit running through the
I
streets.
was
You
with
know what I'm
you
saying?
till you
So,
missed the point. Trust. I know where you're getting at, but you have to let us.
ma'am,
You
ma'am,
have
and
to let us.
ma'am, in America, it's rude to talk over people. I'm coming to you in a moment. Be patient. So I saw a mix of different things. I'm not taking away from Ghana. I'm just saying that I have my own culture, and home for me is the United States of America. This has always been my home. This has been my home thousands of years before Ghana even existed. So, El Presidente, you may comment. Go ahead.
All right. So I appreciate that you are being honest about the things that you see, and the conversation that you're not really being honest about is the fact that just like slavery happened in America and oppression happened, and a lot of black people were conditioned until date. Education has been what do you call it, a lot of black people are deprived from having proper education. We had our own system where the system, right, we had colonization. Like, it's crazy how people don't know that there wasn't, look, ask yourself, right? If there was a trade, how did the rest of Africa, if we were traded? These people have a way of using our people against each other. And that's basically what they did. And the people that, yeah, there were people that betrayed us. But if you read on the number of people that resisted, it's literally on the internet. Just read on the number, the numerous tribes, my very tribe, and Kwe is a Khan. I'm wondering why he's not telling you this. The Asantes what fought wars consecutively, three. They killed us and kept bringing reinforcements and weapons of mass destruction. Killed
Well,
our kings,
ma'am, let me
took
go.
them.
Let me go ahead and
But relax,
let me go ahead.
relax. You claim
Let me go ahead. Hold on. You need to calm down because you said chiefs, and I'm going to interject with evidence. One problem I have with you and your colleagues is y'all just say shit without backing stuff up. In the United States of America, we're scholars and we bring the scholarship, baby. So, according to Dr. Claude Anderson, page 109 of Black Labor, White Wealth, if you look at the graph on the I almost said the board on in the jumbotron, you'll see in 1400 displacement of Africa's natural and human wealth began. What happened in 1400 is your dumbass tribal chiefs start making deals with Europeans who they didn't understand. And look at 1500. In 1500, tribal chiefs, he put that first for a reason. Arabs and Moors began modern black slavery. That's you, ma'am. You initiated the slave trade. You made that European the superpower. You made Europe the superpower that it once was. It's not anymore.
May I
But you breathed life into that.
may I ask her why she's putting her thumb down? Are you denying
because
that?
I'm not.
Are you denying that? Are you denying your role in the transatlantic
Instead
slave
of
trade?
bringing one person's book, everybody
Are you
go to
denying
Google
your
and read.
role?
Don't bring
Are
a book.
you
Read.
denying
The
your
internet
role?
is free. Read. Google.
Google
How did the
what?
slave trade? I'm
Google.
denying it because it's not the truth.
Oh no. The Google is
She's
not
denying it?
a primary
I
source.
say
Google is a
Google
search
because the
engine.
information is there vastly. You can do your own research. Don't go and bring one pen.
Is she
Google.
denying the transatlantic slave trade and their involvement in
I
it?
think that's what I'm hearing. I'm not sure, but I think
Are
that's
you
what I'm
denying
hearing.
it? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Africans didn't have slave.
Yes
We
or
didn't
no?
have
Oh my
slave
God, that's a lot.
markets. The Arabs started it. The British
Uh
came.
oh,
Oh
hold
my
The
on.
God.
British
Let
conquered.
me mute.
They killed.
Okay. You're a lying ass. Number
Totally.
one, those same filthy African kingdoms were involved in the trans Saharan slave trade. They just simply moved over and started participating with the other one because it was closer to when the European wanted some slaves. I don't know why Mikhail isn't coming up. Uh, you know
I
better.
curse you. The blood of my
You
ancestors.
know, I don't
I
care about
curse
the
you with
blood
the
of
blood of
your
my ancestors.
I don't give a fuck about the blood of your fucking ancestors. Let me tell you something. These people are vicious. Listen to this. Vicious slave traders. They make money off of memorials talking about them selling slaves. How are they not involved? Okay? They have entire dungeons that they built. What is this imbecile talking about? You can't save face. You can't save face. We pulled your pants down. You're finished. You already had protection for years through the Pan African movement. You were protected, but you came over, you showed your ass, and now you're in the street and you're not coming back in. You just hang out there on your own forever, and let's see how that works.
Hey, can I speak, man? Can
Yeah.
I speak?
No, 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 not yet. I wanted you to look. See, the thing about my channel is I bring scholarship, all this emotionism and tribal babble. Don't play with me. This is a whole nother book by Dr. Married couple, Dr. Dorothy and Carl Snyder, PhD. They did research. It's called Slavery in America. And if y'all look at the Jumbotron, quote, the slaves are brought, these are the slaves sold in the transatlantic slave trade. Dr. Snyder says the slaves are brought by black traders at fairs, which are held for that purposes, at distances upward of 200 miles from the seacoast. The fairs are said to be supplied from the interior part of the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, I told y'all that I met very beautiful people in Ghana. I went to those interior areas with the tree people. That's a tribe, just like the Twa and the Khoisan. The tree people get treated like shit by Ghanaians, but these were very sweet people. Basically, the descendants of that lady that was up here, Babylon, went inwards and stole people from those villages and sold them on the market. So I want to really correct her. Uh, Africans, tribal leaders initiated the slave trade. They are the reason why the
Yes,
slave trade
they
popped
had
off.
slaves and they were selling the things that they had. Now, I was in the other room in News Toter, and I came in on the end of the conversation, but they had an African on there getting away with saying that they didn't have anything to do with the transatlantic slave trade. And the person arguing with him did not articulate properly. And so now I'm mad. This is not rocket science. They have dungeons on the coast of West Africa. They have doors of
Been there,
no
done. Yeah,
return. They have memorials. You're not getting away with that anymore. People are not stupid. They're making money off of selling you, off of the sentimentality that you have about Africa. They want to drag you over there and pretend like they're your brother. They're the same people that put you through those doors.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, doc,
can I pitch in real
Dr.
quick?
Snyder further said, and I'm putting in a jumbotron, that the trade, that's a slave trade, not only commercialized the economy and changed the everyday life of Africans, but it also corrupted them. Allegedly, African kings sold wives whom which they were angry. African parents sold children whom they could not feed, and desperate Africans sold themselves. Stop right there. How do you sell yourself? I don't know, but Dr. Snyder said it happened. So if these are the ancestors she said she's going to use to curse Wani, I don't know if they're in a position to curse anybody.
They already
Because
cursed my ancestors, but we
right,
still rose from out of the ashes like a phoenix and will always rise and they'll always fall.
right, right. And that's where the anger's coming from, Wani. We're not. She's really mad. I'm
So
assuming
am
that
I.
she's really mad because I'm assuming that from that vitriol she had, is she's a descendant of one of these dumbass African tribal chiefs. And she's mad that we're in the position we're in. Because, like Wani said, We were supposed, like Wani implied, rather, we were supposed to just go somewhere and die and be erased. So she was part of that erasure that we're talking about in the title, but she fucking failed. And she has to look at us on our iPhone 16s telling the truth about her fucking failed ass um,
I have.
ancestors. Deal with it. I think Dan, who was up next?
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
just saying something real quickly, and then I'm gonna go.
Go ahead and respond, Dan.
Um, did you visit the Cape Coast Castle when you went to Ghana?
Yeah, I
Yes.
went to went to Elmina and Cape Coast. I've been to
Yeah.
all of them. I've been all over. I go there once a
Okay,
year.
great.
And
Have
in 2023 I spent the whole summer there. So I mean, I'm not just
that's great.
some amateur. I'm not an amateur. I did research there. I won't be going back. I'm going to explore East
Yeah,
Africa. But
that's good. I think you should explore. Did you notice
yeah.
that where the castle is built, the rock is kind of black, like it's like some volcanic kind of rock around.
Sure.
So that whole area used to be a deity actually. It used to be called Tabi. And the point that I'm about to make is that the Europeans, to be honest, what they wrote, there's conflicting accounts. Some of them say that the tribal chiefs allowed the Portuguese to build it, and some of them say that they genocided or burned villages to force them into allowing
No,
them
they
to build
didn't.
that
No, they built it.
castle.
They built,
Hold
Africans
on. I'm
built it.
talking about a very specific case, one. So allow me, please. And the whole point of that volcanic rock that the castle is built on is that it used to be a deity. Why would we allow a foreign people to build on top of a deity or on top of a sacred rock?
Because
Don't
you
you think
change your
there's a
religion. Because you
spiritual
change your
agenda,
religions.
cultural kind of domination thing going on over there?
Well, that's a
No.
very interesting fact, but you like to change your, these leaders were changing their religions as well. And they did allow them to build that. It was a particular tribe, and I'll try to find the name of it. I don't
For
believe they
Ghana, it's gonna
exist
be very
anymore.
hard for you to do that. I'm very deep into the history of the slave trade, well, for Ghana at the very least. So I doubt that you'd pull up any information that I'm not aware
You
of.
doubt
But
that I'm going to get a name of the tribe that said it's okay to build here?
it will be the
Yeah.
Efutu tribe if you find anything. But
Okay.
I could tell you the exact
Wani,
Portuguese
that's
person
the
that burnt the
difference.
village. It's
Okay.
Diogodi
They
Azambuja.
are they are so used to you know what I'm saying, just going by word of
Yeah, we're
mouth
not
that they
oral
don't
history.
know.
We know the facts. And they
We
built that.
No,
uh,
no,
The
there's no
Portuguese.
oral history. There's like written
Hold on. Are
letters.
you trying to tell, hold on. You trying to tell me that Portuguese people jumped on the shore, pimp slapped all the Africans in the area, and then began to build a goddamn castle? How?
Because
First,
the people were
with the
decentralized at
material
that
and
time.
go
The
get the
villages were
materials
all
and go,
separate.
they went to get the materials all this
They,
time
they
and not one
enslaved some
person.
people. They brought material from Europe to
No,
build the
the
castle.
Africans enslaved some people.
Dan, you're being
Come
I'm
oh
being
on.
my. I gotta clean this
They
mess up.
built dungeons and put the people in the dungeons.
Y'all, what Dan just said is, you know, I respect the brother, but maybe he don't know. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's just not true. If y'all look at a picture of me at let's unpack this shit right quick. Again, Black Americans deal in evidence. Look at my evidence in the jumbotron. That is me in my gold Air Max standing at Elmina Castle. Now, if you look directly behind me, off in the distance, you're looking at Cape Coast slave castle. Now, the thing I want y'all to observe is several things I want you to observe is as follows. Look behind me. There's a whole fucking neighborhood, miles and miles, in every direction but the sea. The sea is, I'm facing the sea. What were these people doing in these neighborhoods while they were selling my black ass? They were complicit, and they still are. If you look at my coat, it looks like I'm pregnant. You want to know why? Because they charged me to get into that goddamn castle. They charged me to get into a castle where my ancestors were sold from. Number one, that pissed me off. But they turned around and tried to charge me twice because I had a camera, and they said, "Brother, you press. We got to charge you more money." So they are still making goddamn money off the slave trade. So fucking miss me with that. We were tricked bullshit.
No, no, I didn't talk about any trickery. All I'm saying is that that village they are seeing, it didn't exist back then. It was two villages, and I could get deep into it, but I feel like we're getting too deep in the specifics. So um, I'll let the other speaker speak.
That Dan,
I
much
can bring
respect,
I
much
can bring
love,
the
but I don't.
scholarship, but it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Please hit me with some scholarship because my scholarship says
All right,
otherwise.
sure.
You know what my scholar? Let me tell you what my
Do you mind
scholarship
if it's in
says.
French?
It said,
Yes. Yeah,
I got
go
somebody. I
for
got
it.
somebody
Make
with
it
me.
work.
I got somebody with me who can speak
All
French,
right.
so that's all good.
That will work fine.
uh, so according to Dr. Snyder, the slave captain. Listen, this. You know what? I'm gonna give this to y'all, Black Americans. Y'all need this right here. The slaver captain had to depend on Africans at every turn. When he arrived with his trading goods, he dare not leave them unguarded or on the beach. He had to hire an African captain of the sand to watch over until he could hire other Africans to transport them inside the fort. When he bought slaves, he had to employ a captain of the slaves. These captains of the slaves were black people to get them on the beach. Then he had to house them somewhere until he can complete his cargo. I mean, this is complicity, ladies and gentlemen. This is complicity amongst the slave trade. That's what you're looking at. So all this,
Dan, what are
rigmarole
you
about
trying to
we
prove, Dan? What is the point or what
I'm
narrative
saying that
are you trying to say?
the building of even the first castles was not complicit. Like we're not complicit in
Okay,
them being
so
built.
we're back to the
There
white boy
was
had a butter.
hold on one.
We're back.
Let me
No,
finish my point.
no. We're back to the white boy jumped on the shore with a butterfly net and scooped up a bunch of Africans, chasing them all over lands that they know how to run around. Are we
No,
back to that shit?
no, that's not what I'm
In the
saying.
meantime, your dumbass leaders are on their knees, crawling around, apologizing, but at the same time trying to do business deals with us. I noticed that. They came to Kansas City. Oh, we want to apologize for our role in the transatlantic. No, not your role. Your
No, look,
partnership.
I'm talking about
Your
a specific.
partnership in the transatlantic slave trade. It wasn't called the transatlantic pimp slap an African and take their stuff trade. They were trading with people just like they did at the trans-Saharan slave trade. These were powerful kingdoms. What are you talking about? They knew exactly what they were doing. And if the white boy didn't come, they would have just sold people to the Arabs. And if the Arabs didn't come, they would sell people between themselves. And when the slave trade was officially over, those motherfuckers continued to sell people like they do right now today on auction blocks and putting children in mines. You have not stopped. How can you deny something you're doing right now?
right.
Okay, let's let Mikhail talk because
Come on, Mikhail.
Greetings, brother professor, savant, Queen Wani, and the family, Black Truth, the earth, Black. Okay, brother Dan, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm good. What about you?
Okay, all right. There's no point of having this discussion with you regarding slavery. We know that's been something that your people been doing for thousands of years, possibly 10,000 years. Definitely the origins, the progenitors of slavery in partnership first with the so-called Mongoloid then the mutation, which we call today the so-called Arab, in the Libu slave trade, and then eventually with the Neo-Syrians, Assyrians, then the Greeks, the Persians, the Romans. So there's unquestionable evidence confirming that. But I have a question for you. In fact, I'm here on the continent, as you know, and no one here denies that. And I intentionally avoid West Africa. I would never, ever, ever go to West Africa. Question: would you say that your ancestors are the descendants of the so-called ancient people of Kemet, Kush?
Possibly some of them.
Okay, that's a good answer. So possibly some of your ancestors may have built the pyramids. Would that be correct?
Possibly.
And then some of your ancestors may have been treasonous and organized with the Arabs, the Europeans, the Mongoloids to overtake Kemet, correct?
What time period are you talking?
6,000 BC, starting there, and then to 3,000 BC, and then the next timeline, 2,000, up to
Um,
completion at 300 BC when it fell.
I'll just say possibly. I know where you're going.
But yeah, you know where I'm going. What's stopping the Africoids from taking back Kemet or Egypt? What's stopping you guys?
Lack of unity. Kemet had to be united on the lower and upper Kemet before he became great for real. So it's the same kind of situation.
Okay, so instead of taking back Kemet or modern Egypt, a place that generates billions, I mean literally billions of dollars a year in tourism based on digging your ancestors up, which actually are close to our ancestors, but since you're still in that region, and parading your ancestors through the streets and claiming that your ancestors are not your ancestors, they are actually the ancestors of the Albinoids. Instead of taking that back, your leaders are looking to the West to get reparations from a land in which the people exist who they sold. Explain that logic to me.
Can you come again? I didn't really get the question properly.
Sure. Modern Egypt generates billions of dollars a year annually as a result of tourism and exploiting your ancestors. And with those billions, they buy guns from the West to threaten Black nations and keep you guys in check. But your leaders are looking to the West, specifically America, to pay reparations for the people in which they literally sold to the Europeans, my ancestors. Explain that logic to me.
Well, I wouldn't say that my ancestors sold people because some of my ancestors actually have paperwork for it, were domestics in some of the castles. Um,
Okay, just explain the logic. Explain the math to me.
I look. I'm aware that white supremacy is a thing. It's a system, and I'm aware that there's a lot of people on the continent or from my civilization or from my side of the world that are participating in it out of greed and they're agents of it. But that's not the case for everybody.
Okay, okay, we're talking about an entire continent
The
that for
entire
thousands
continent.
of years, that for thousands of years have survived on an institution of selling their people, eventually selling the most prominent civilization of that era to the people
Preach.
who they collaborated with. And today, in 2025, are seeking reparations as a result of the people who they sold, building the most successful nation on this planet in the modern era.
I wouldn't say
Explain the math.
I, w-
Just explain the math.
I wouldn't say that we are seeking reparations from
You
anybody.
are.
We, if anything, we're looking for reparations for colonization and the
Why
harms
would
that
you
they
Okay,
get,
caused
okay,
us.
why
pause.
would you
Okay,
get
pause right
reparations?
there. Pause right there. Pause right there. Colonization. Your people bask in the glory of colonizations. You drive European or Chinese made cars. Your institutions and
I'm against all of
curriculums
that, by the way.
are Western. We're not talking about what you're against. I'm talking about what exists. Your curriculums are European oriented or Western oriented, right? Your architecture, your infrastructure, your physical and your digital infrastructure are Western oriented. There's nothing originally primordial Africoid about your way of thinking. You relish colonization. So why would you shoot yourself in the foot and try to get a check from something that you literally enjoy? Colonization. Explain the math.
Okay. I actually like what you're saying. So, what I guess your point is we are not decolonizing, so why seek out reparations for colonization if we don't want to get rid of what the Europeans brought to us? I personally, uh, my handle is Kwedi Akan. I'm always bigging up my people. I'm always sharing scholarship on my specific ethnic group. I think everybody should do that. I think Black Americans should do that about their ethnic group.
We already
Okay.
did.
Yes,
We
you all
bigged up
do,
the
Okay.
whole
and
West
So
it's great,
Africa.
and
You're
it's great.
late to the party.
Wani, it's
We have a
great.
okay.
whole
I'm not,
Afrocentric movement here. What are you talking about? We should do. We shouldn't do
I
shit.
know,
We don't
and I
have to do
know
shit.
Dr. Molefi
Okay.
Asante.
So Dan,
Mhm.
these great people that you speak of don't produce business plans, feasibility studies, projections. Tell me about this study, this research development and innovation study that your people, your great people that you mentioned, are using to build a brand new paradigm from the ground up that does not include Western thought. Tell me about that,
You
if it
see,
exists.
let me put things in a in a different way.
There's no West African thought. We can't see you.
Okay, Wani,
We can't.
let me answer
We
now.
can't. We can't see you.
Okay, all right. So here's the thing. Knowledge is one thing. How the knowledge is packaged is another. Um, West Africans had C sections and inoculation, so something akin to vaccination for centuries,
We're not
maybe
going to go
millennia.
into all that. We're
Wait,
really not.
I'm getting somewhere. White
No, you're not.
Europeans took that knowledge and repackaged it and now they're selling it to us for maybe billions for the COVID
How are
shots
they
and whatnot.
doing? What is the
Did he
excuse
say
for doing?
vaccinations?
Wait.
How are how do you justify being perpetually idiots?
Well, not idiots. Some people
You are.
definitely are,
You
but not
really
everybody.
Okay,
are
Dan,
idiots. What do
Dan,
It's
you call
Dan,
it?
it's all
Dan,
about
Dan, Dan,
deconstructing the knowledge
Dan,
and
Dan,
repackaging it in your
Dan.
cultural context. Because
Okay,
what
Dan.
getting erased, that's
We're
the issue.
moving. We're moving in the speed of thought into this era of quantum computation,
Mm.
quantum entanglement, quantum superposition. What did your people contribute to that, to this movement, and how are you going to compete or dominate the Chinese, the Indians, the Russians, the Americans that are in your homeland?
Am I supposed to answer now? I would say most people working in those domains today in my country or from my ethnicity are doing it from a Western context, maybe using Western languages, foreign languages, or maybe working for Western companies. And that's the whole point that I'm making about erasure.
Okay, so the point I'm making, and I'll land with this:
Mm.
you're done. You're done. You don't have a plan. You don't have direction. You don't have purpose, and your people keep looking for love in all the wrong places.
I
So you
could
start
answer to
there,
that though.
and then start clean. Start clean slate, and then build from scratch without people in your business. I bet you can't do that. I bet if you try to get your colonizers, and that's your neo colonizers as well, and your digital colonizers, which of course will be the AI generated machine intelligence that you will never be able to control. If you get them out off your continent, then you might have a shot. But that's the colonization that you want.
I don't.
I
Okay,
want to
yeah, go ahead.
add quickly that John G. Jackson in Introduction to African Civilization says a one liner for you. He says Ghana was a trading empire. So that was part of the sauce, ladies and gentlemen. Ghana was neck deep into trade. So let's not play innocent all of a sudden. You
First,
know,
wanted to say something about what we were talking about.
come on with it. Come
Hey
on, Fresh.
guys. Hey Juan. Hey Professor Allen. I mean, you guys, I mean, Mikhail just kind of just desecrated the whole conversation. I mean, Dan, I mean, they just continue to come up here with this crap. So what you're I don't have an explanation for why they built this fortress, quote unquote, slave dungeon on top of this voodoo, whatever crap, voodoo volcano. But you guys were definitely intricate in building these dungeons. This is was part of the slave trade. You guys continue to um you kind of like downplay, like, this was an economy. You guys had a slave economy. It was booming for many for many kingdoms. And so those prisoners of war, you guys did forced labor, but those kingdoms that were in power, those rulers, they allowed for that to happen. That was intricate for the slave trade. That those dungeons did not only hold those people for over 3 months, but it was also used as a trading post.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of goods sold there. This is the thing about Africa, or at that time, people were that was the bargaining system. It was trading, and so there was many things being traded, but along with the spices, you guys had enslaved people, and anybody could participate. In fact, we you can see these type of behaviors or instances continue to happen out in Congo. These rebel groups have always did side deals, quote unquote, even during the slave trade. It was crazy because one of the rulers in that region, that Central Africa region, he even complained about the people selling, enslaved Africans on the side, doing side deals. It was weird. To he wrote a letter to, I'll find that information for you too, Juan. He wrote a letter to, I think it was the um I don't know. Was it? I don't know who he wrote. I
Is
think it
this
was
the
the
letter to
Dutch.
the president
It was the. Was
or
it to
another
the?
one? They
I
have so
don't know
much
what.
fuck
I'm
shit.
gonna
I
look
can't keep
into
up
it.
with it.
I gotta look into it to brush up on it because this I haven't read this since Clubhouse, but I remember this information because I read it for myself, and so this is I don't know why they try to dance around these fortress, these dungeons were not just done in Ghana, right, or in that region. They're everywhere. They're in Sierra Leone. They're in places in, like, Benin, Nigeria area. Like, this is not, no, these rulers, there was an economy. Anybody could participate. There could be an open market of an old lady sitting and she can have somebody tied up. Okay, they use they use forced labor too. They call them prisoners of war. They were just other tribes, right? It didn't matter. So they were like consuming tribes. So it got so bad where it was a either kill or to be killed kind of environment, right? It was horrible. So I don't know where Dan keeps coming up with all these, and not just him, just Africans. I don't know. Like, I honestly, Professor, I don't
Because
what.
they're used to Pan-Africanism protecting them, and they don't
Yeah.
know that we're in a truth mode right now. And that truth mode happened when they went after us. They
Yeah.
started attacking
And
us
I
for
love
news.
it. They needed to wake up.
Yeah,
We
they did.
cannot stay. It was harmful. We were
Yep,
yeah, we were facilitating
you
a
did us a
genocide.
favor.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we woke up. But honestly, Professor, just I'm gonna land here. I don't believe that they were complicit, or I think it was normal. It was part of the culture. They were
Yes,
used to seeing enslaved people. Thank you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's a lot of scholarship to back up what she just said.
they're doing
Um,
it now.
right.
By the
Each
way, I
country
put my source in the
is doing
jumbotron,
it
so if
now.
anybody
You
wants to
don't have
read
a
it,
source. You don't have a source. You're
I
just
I
out of your
do, I
mind.
do. It's fine to read it and
Source of
disagree.
what?
We can agree to
Source
disagree.
of what? What source of what? What is the
Source
point?
on the Portuguese having to burn villages in order to build that castle to prove that they were not
It
complicit.
doesn't matter. It was with their permission. This is what you're not understanding, and you keep
Their
saying
permission
that your
after
people.
burning
No,
their
no, no, no.
village.
You were hold on, Dan. Your people were not. You were not victims. The Akan, the Fanti, and
Please
other
just read
coastal
the
groups. Hold on,
source
hold on,
before.
hold on, hold on, hold. All of you guys were involved. They got permission. You
Preach.
you keep saying that your argument is flawed, Dan. We get what you're saying, but we're telling you otherwise, and you're trying to force a false narrative, or maybe you can't comprehend it. I don't know, but you guys were they got permission from the rulers. So whatever they did, whether if they burned, enslaved, raped, it didn't matter. You gave them permission.
So wait.
Well,
You're
well,
willing
well
to
I would
condemn a
go.
whole people.
I would go. Hold on, Dan. I would go a step further and say that this is the problem, Fresh. Black Americans are looking for an apology from the facilitators of the slave trade. We want an apology from West Africa, and that apology needs to come in a form of some type of reciprocity. Dan, and I have nothing against Dan, but Dan is, if I may stooge you for a minute, sir. Dan is serving as a great example of the problem. This denial. We were victims too. No, the fuck you weren't. You sold me. Say you sorry and make that goddamn Cape Coast and Elmina Castle free to Black Americans. Matter of fact, give us some
All
goods,
the
give us some
money,
gold.
all the money they
Yeah, I
make,
want some
they need to
cocoa.
send that over.
Shit, if you ain't got money, you can pay me in cocoa. I'll take some cocoa. That shit's
But
bomb.
Ghanaians understand reparations, guys. They literally exploit other tribal groups in the name of reparations. They will take, I think you guys talked about this yesterday, but they will take a whole person from a family and say, this is a debt. And they will never see that person again. It can be a 5-year-old, guys. They will,
They do the
Yeah,
same thing with
and
those
that's called
cobalt
panyari.
mines. They say,
and it's not,
okay,
they still practice it, don't lie, because laws do not matter. You guys have tribal laws. You
lawless.
don't yeah, they don't respect laws. So it's
Right.
Oh,
There's no rule of law. But watch this. And Dan, you remember we had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You have these technocrats in office. And you see how they're digging up everything and they're finding receipts. You're coming for reparations. And you know somewhere some 18, 19-year-old kid is sitting in Doge digging up receipts to counter everything that you're saying and justify why your people owe Black Americans resources. And that's going to be the counter strategy that the Trump administration waged on the continent. They're going to say the land in which these people were taken from, and we have the proven receipts, we have the boats and ships, we have the timelines. Those lands have mines, and many of those mines are owned by the Chinese. And we're going to take those mines. And what's in those mines will go to foundational Black Americans, and we'll keep 5% of that. Remember, we had this conversation. You have a different kind of administration in play, and this is a paradigm shift. So it's not going to end the way you think it's going to end this time.
My whole issue with this narrative of West Africans paying reparations is that
it's not a
there's
narrative. You
companies,
owe
hold on,
reparations. You
there's
have
actual
already
companies that worked on that.
apologized.
The Royal African Company, that's a British company that was working.
Worked on what?
That's the company that
Worked
was
on what?
selling slaves that had Africans on payroll.
No, no,
Wait,
Dan,
wait, 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 wait,
Dan,
wait,
Dan.
What?
Listen,
wait, wait, wait.
hold on, hold on. You see that, Dan? I need you, man, as a representative of your people, to just stand on to stick your chest out and say we fucked up. I'm sorry.
Wait a
Because
second.
because it's overwhelming scholarship. Let's listen to Chancellor Williams, Dr. Chancellor Williams, the guru. Listen to this shit. According to Dr. Chancellor Williams, the second was a new source of great wealth to be relieved on the coast and trouble of maintaining prisoner of war camps. Blah blah blah. For such reason, listen to this. For such reason, the unforgivable sale of blacks into slavery by blacks began. The fact that African chiefs and kings had a quite different conception of slavery than that of Caucasians does not excuse them. For in the course of time, they had to know that in the West, the captured blacks became slaves. In fact, and not, as in Africa, persons who became members of the community were integrated into families, became members of any crafts, had rights to farmland, held offices, and in fact, had all the rights and privileges enjoyed by the original captors. So what I'm saying is, while at the first of the African slave sellers may not have known the fate to which they were consigning their brothers, in time, they did learn. And for this reason, the blacks will stand condemned forever before the bar of
But they
history.
weren't their brothers.
King, no, King Mabu, along with the others. So, Dan, your kings were fucking complicit.
That's not an Akan king, but that's besides the point. I understand
And
what you're
the
saying.
kings dictate the behavior of the people around them because they
Mm,
see what the king does. Oh, the king is la di da. He's Arabic now. Oh, look at his fancy writing. Then they want to run around and do it. So they do whatever the king, they just care about getting stuff. We already know
Dan,
they
Right.
don't
no,
care. They'll sell their
here's
children's anuses for
Dan,
£2 sterling. When you sell
here's
your
the flaw
child's
in what you're
anus for two
saying.
pounds sterling, that's when I know what type of people you are.
Here's the flaw in what you're saying. What I'm saying right now is that
Dan,
the Royal African Company had those
Dan.
kings on payroll. Their
We're
names
not
are
talking
written.
about
Okay.
the
Their
royal. We're not
descendants are
talking about
known.
the Royal African country. We're talking about machine intelligence, AI, that will organize all that information
Wait, what does AI have
and
to do with the reparations?
put a dollar figure on it and declare it owed to foundational Black Americans in the form of precious metals. And they're going to take those mines from the Chinese, and the Chinese aren't going to be able to do anything about it. You're not going to be able to do anything about it. Your leaders aren't going to be able to do anything about it. The African Union, who's paid
Is that a
by the European
proposal
Union, aren't going to
or
be able to
a
do anything about it.
prediction or
May I say
what is
something?
that?
You
Hold on, Wani. Let me answer this question. It's just simple, logical thinking. If I was the president of the United States, that's what I would do. If I was the head of the African Union, I would have advised them to not do it because this is how the West will respond. And in addition, I would take your remittance away from you as well, threaten to send you back home, and still take your mines from the Chinese and give that those precious metals to foundational Black Americans. In fact, I will organize a board and a panel of foundationals to sit and oversee that repository of information and the decision making process of that uh, reparations claim. That's what I would
I
do.
mean, I think it sounds beneficial to
you
Black
put
Americans, but
you put something in the jumbotron and it's like little slips of something. I can't tell
it's a
who
book.
wrote it.
I
I know it's a book. What
I,
who wrote the book? What's it about? Why
it's right here. It's called Guerre et Société au Royaume de Fétou, Ghana
and
mille quatre cent soixante et onze
that's you
à
guys
sept
writing
cent vingt
about
ans.
you're not being complicit? Is that what you're saying?
Um, you just read the screenshot and tell me what you
Read
think.
you guys managing your own narrative? Is that what you want me to read?
It's written by a white man, a French
Okay.
man,
Okay.
so it's not my narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you
What does
just
that
read that
mean?
and
We've already played these games before with Queen Nzinga. Oh, Queen Nzinga is the queen. She fought the Portuguese. Oh, but they didn't
I'm
say the
not
part.
Congolese.
Yeah, why? They didn't
They
say
didn't
why.
say the
Congolese.
part.
I'm not Angolan.
Shh. They didn't say the part where she just wanted her people to not be enslaved, but it was okay to run a whole slave trade on other people. See, you guys don't see others as you, and now we're going to do that. And you don't like
I
it.
just gave a
We
very
don't. I don't
key
see you as me.
information that
I
went
used
over your
to.
heads.
I used
The
to.
Royal African Company is the company that was involved in the slave trade on the Gold Coast. There's names
Let
of the
me say
chiefs
something real
that were
quick.
involved in
Are
it.
you are
They
you
have
aware that those
descendants.
same hold on. Are you aware of those same kingdoms you're trying to narrow it down to the just this situation? Those same kingdoms are running around involved in the same bullshit. These people had slaves. When they died, they buried the slaves with them. When they couldn't sell the slaves, they lopped their heads off. These are not nice people.
Uh,
These are not
Look,
nice people. This is not a nice
this was
culture.
something that was part of it was an Egyptian
Lopping people's heads off is
religion as well. It's something that was part of it. If you worked for the king, You were buried with the king.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, in the jumbotron you'll find Onthespotts Cash App, show her love, and if you want to know more in-depth knowledge of this slave trade and more information about yourself as a Black American, my Cash App's in the jumbotron as well. Go ahead and send $25 to my Cash App. Put your full name and mailing address, and I'll mail you a copy of my scholarship when I was a professor at a historically Black college. My publication, my first publication, by the way. I just got new copies in the mail to send out. So, in addition, Wani brought Queen Nzinga up. Um, I'm gonna put a picture of Queen Nzinga in the jumbotron, showing her. She sat on one of her subordinates um, to show off in front of a European to kind of support what our sister Wani just got through saying. Wani, who's the next speaker?
I don't know. Fresh, did you want to follow up with something that was said?
Yes, I wanted to give Professor Allen a resource that I have that
I'll
would
take it.
further kind of dispel. I mean, we don't really need to. I mean, he's gonna
No,
stay
we
in
don't.
in the sunken place, but I want to talk about.
Don't do me like that now.
Yes, you are in the sunken place, sir.
Mm,
So
God.
I wanted to talk about this. It's a book. It's called The Daughters of the Trade. And this is specifically in this Gold Coast region because I'm tired of this one. And I think he's a product of these uh,
No.
these diplomatic relationships, you
Yeah.
sick creep. Listen, so I'm gonna read I
Right.
want to read something. So, the term the daughters of the trade refers to African women, often from elite or influential families, who engage in relationships and marriages with European traders along the West African coast during the Atlantic slave trade era. These women played a crucial role as intermediaries, mediators,
Intermediaries.
yeah, intermediaries. You know, those women that they're in commerce, so
Pose.
they basically there.
Like a
Yeah,
buffer.
yeah, like they're there to make sure that the plan goes, the deal goes through or whatever.
I
Yes.
love it
So
fresh.
between European merchants and African societies, facilitating trade, democracy, and cultural exchange. So these relationships, I mean, these established relationships, furthermore proves. I think you talked about houses in a certain area. These people living in this
Also,
area,
yeah.
they created a mulatto class, a buffer class. Um, and this was not forced. This was all in the name of keeping good
Well, they
relationships.
love pumping on white
Yeah,
boys, so
with their
nothing's
European,
changed.
with
Nothing's changed.
Now, why
with.
why would white people admit to
Can I
sexually
land,
assaulting
please,
black
sir?
women?
May I land?
Let her
They didn't
land, Dan.
sexually assault them.
Why
They
would they
they
admit to
dated
it
I'll
though?
them.
just land. Forget it.
Okay, okay,
They
Lion. My
they
bad.
dated them.
Hey, let's be respectful. Let's let Fresh land. She's coming with some really good information. I want to hear it.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I was just there's more. That's why I'm giving you the book so that you can go more in depth with these conversations. I've read partial of the book, but it's going to tell you more about these mixed race and how they play a role in these relationships throughout centuries, even up until today. Oh, you're gonna love it, Professor. And then I have some more resources for you, but we'll just start with that one because I also wanted to give you a really good book about caste systems, to kind of wheel in or frame this whole conversation about race, or who's black, I mean, solidifying our ethnogenesis with how race was socialized. This is very unique to our experience. And so, yeah, I'll send those resources, but there's a lot of, yeah, I got some good books for you, some really
Are
good
you
ones.
following
Mhm.
Fresh, Professor?
Is he not? Oh
Oh
Fresh,
yeah,
yeah,
do you
we
have
good.
do
definitely.
you have a
Yeah.
PDF for the book?
I'm not talking to you,
She's
Dan.
not.
Oh,
She
come
doesn't
on.
like you. Yes, Monica.
So,
Wait, do you have a
so
PDF?
what?
Because the book is
Hold
100
on one second,
euros
Dan.
on Amazon over here.
Hold on, brother Dan. What Fresh said was, I'm gonna verify that from in personam experience. When I was in Ghana, in West Africa, Ghana included, in summer of 2023, I went with several professors at various colleges and two physicians, one of which was a professor of medicine. And we went to build a school in Hohoi. It's spelled Ho-Ho, but he pronounced Hohoi. And to build a library in Apaso. And long story short, I saw what Fresh was talking about when we went to the jungle. We spent a day or two in the jungle with the tree people, a tribe that has minimal contact with the Europeans, and they were wonderful. They reminded me of being a child in the ghettos of Birmingham, Alabama. It was similar culture. They were sweet people, and they were begging us, "Please, can you get us to the United States?" And me and a couple other professors was like, "Hell yeah, we're gonna put together a scholarship for you and get you over here on a student visa." But we soon found out that the process of selection with respect to getting West Africans to the America is highly selective, and they seemingly do not want Africans who are aligned morally and spiritually with the Black American. And actually, it looked as though they were the West Africans that made it to America, like a qualification had to be vitriol towards Black Americans. So what she's saying is true. They're really picky of who they let come over here from West Africa. And in my view, it looks like they only let people come over here who have an agenda against us, thereby linking them to that goddamn slave trade. Shit is deep, y'all. Dan, you want to say something right quick?
Just clarifying. I'm not a descendant of those mulattoes. Uh, as Fresh is
You
trying
said you
to.
were.
What?
I just felt you were a descendant of slave traders because of your persistence.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not.
but I think down in his lineage, listen,
Uh-oh.
most Africans are
I,
poor, right?
I've
So if
kind
you
of
see
broken down
these
my lineage though.
Africans
He said he was
traveling,
Portuguese, remember?
yeah, and he's already been in France, he's probably in Europe. These diplomatic
Mm.
relationships has been going on for centuries with these European
Right.
countries. Dan is a product
Yep.
of these what do they call it? These guy
Their
ladies.
mothers are whores.
Euro Africans, I
No,
think.
they call it. There's a name for
Dummies.
this practice.
Idiots.
No, Wadi.
Wow.
It's called something. I have to look in the book, but they call this practice something. So this stuff has been going on since the beginning of time. It kind of debunks everything he's saying because if they were forced, if they were victims, who are these women marrying? What is this
Mm.
practice
There was a
for?
Nigerian woman, I think she was half Nigerian,
Yeah.
and she married some okay. When I went over to the UK, I insisted upon going to a maze, and the people were like they had some title, but the woman was half Nigerian and the guy was white. So that's one of those little hookups. She had more money than him, and he was a poor royal, right? So that's why they got married. And the mother was over there saying he destroyed a whole bunch of bloodline and all this stuff. And he looked like he was inbred.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and a
so
lot
they're
of
over there
these
making
relationships
deals.
still happen till today. When you see the owner of Shell's gas station, he's probably married to some
Mm.
influential Nigerian, family. This stuff has been going on for centuries. They are not innocent at all. They literally chose their people to be the labor force.
Now, Dan, what is your point? Why can't you just say, you know what? We actually did those things. Why is it the African has to save face and tell us that they are not committing, putting children in cobalt mines when we can literally see the children with our own eyes? Why do you have to deny these things? The
I'll tell
first
you.
step
I'll tell
to
you the truth.
healing, the first step of healing is to admit. Haven't you ever heard of Alcoholics
Right.
Anonymous?
Okay.
Go to Alcoholics
No, I don't drink
Anonymous for
alcohol.
Africans. African Anonymous. All you got to do, admit that your people are trash, and then you can move on with your life. Because I'm never gonna listen. I'm not listening to anything. There's like bazillions of sources
uh,
to show that you guys like to sell human beings. It's not like you stopped. You literally, Madam, sir, had
Still
to be
doing it.
told
Still
Keeping
doing
it
it.
to
as a
stop.
drug.
Yeah, Madam Tenenbaum had to be told to stop. They had to stop her, from being able to do. She was still doing it. I'll do what I want. She looks like a bulldog in a dress. Okay, this is a little toad who needed to be beat to death. But I'm just saying it. That's just my opinion. She got away with bloody murder. She made all kind of murderous statements about she would rather drown all the slaves than sell them to a Portuguese slaver for cheap. This was a beast sitting on a throne. You're gonna have to admit these people. You deify these people. All you care about is she's rich, and you make a square for this broad, Tenaboo Square. You see, you're
yeah.
sick. You got
Take
a
that up
white
with the
Jesus.
Nigerians. I can't. I
No,
can't
I don't
defend.
care. You're representing all of them right now. You got Tenebu Square with a bulldog being deified. You got a white Jesus. Everything over there is ugly as shit. Okay? Let's start there.
And
All right.
and they're not innocent either. They got invaded for that gold toilet, and they were fighting over that gold toilet. It partially is because you were selling slaves, and once the
It
Europeans
wasn't.
realized, yeah, that you
They,
weakened
they
your
they wanted us to be
population,
Christian.
they
That's
attacked. They attacked. They knew you were weak. They attacked. They saw the population weaken, right? And then they took their shot. You guys fought over a
because of
gold
chicken pox.
toilet. Yeah, and I wish they would have stole the gold toilet. Honestly, I hope it's destroyed today.
Wait, they
That's
had a toilet?
crazy.
Yeah,
It's a
they
stool. It's a
it's
throne.
a
A golden.
toilet.
It's a golden throne.
Wani said they had
You
a
guys don't
toilet?
know what
Oh
to
my
Really?
do with no
god, bro!
toilet. Stop playing with us.
You
It
could
looks
tell.
like a
You could tell.
toilet seat,
Fresh used
Wani.
to be a fan of
It
Akans when
it
she was
looks like a toilet
Pan-Africanist.
seat.
She don't like you.
Yeah, everybody liked me.
No, we don't.
I give up.
I don't
I'm
know
I'm
who
actually
lied to
bringing
you.
scholarship and stuff, but you
No,
guys are not
you're
really reading
not.
it.
What
Did
scholarship?
you did you
They,
read
I've read
did you
it.
read the screenshot that I brought up
Yes,
in
I
the
did.
book?
I did
So go
read it.
read the book. Go read on the Clash of
I would never
Civilization, and
read
then
that book on
let's
any
talk about it.
circumstances. I'm not reading a whole book about that. I already know what you guys did. You've
That's fine.
already apologized, you've laid out, but the problem is you're a bunch of con artists that will sell your child's anus for £2 sterling. So you can't be trusted. You understand?
Let me give you a scenario real
Hold on,
quick, and then
Dan.
I'm
I
gonna
do
You
want to
drop.
say
apologize. Let me tell you about the shystiness of your group.
Oh my
You
god.
apologize. You come over and you say, "Hey, I want to apologize for the transatlantic slave trade, guys." But then you get over here with a bunch of tap dancing sambos. They don't publicize it very loud because they're still trying to protect you. And then they get in there and they go, "We accept your apology. Yeah, boss, we do." And then the African is over there talking about how can we do business over here in Kansas City? We want to make some, yeah, I bet you do. You are going to need to apologize for real for the 70th time and stop trying to get something. Stop trying to con
right.
people. Just apologize. That's it. Just like I said earlier. We don't care about what you're talking about. That's it. It doesn't mean we now like the white boy. Why does your brain jump to those conclusions? If I say I don't like dogs, oh, you like cats. No, I can simply not like dogs and not like cats and elephants if I choose to. But I like all of those guys. You don't know how to make logical
Wait,
connections.
Wani, if that was the point, I would have no issue whatsoever with you guys. Whatsoever. But what you're
If
saying sounds like black nationalism, like fighting for a nation for
It's
black
not.
Americans.
Didn't
But your
Uganda
point is
apologize?
that you want
Uganda
to be a part of
apologized.
the United
Dan.
States of America,
Dan.
side by
hold on,
side
hold
with
on,
those
hold on,
white
hold on, hold on,
Europeans.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. We want to be a part of America. We are America. What are you
Yep.
talking about?
See?
You don't
Wait,
know what the fuck you're
there's
talking
there's a
about.
One.
distinction
There
though.
was a
Shut
country.
up.
There's
There
there's
was
a
a
distinction
country.
between the
Dan.
country and the
Our
land.
ethnicity was created in America. We don't
Absolutely,
belong to
Yeah.
any other place.
absolutely.
Now, when you say that we want to be a part of America, you're confusing land and people. So you could say you don't like the way that white people in America have treated
Hmm.
us and that we shouldn't align with them, but you're not going to tell us that we're not supposed to like America, the
Okay,
land.
no, 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 no. I'm not
This is our
saying don't
land.
like America. I'm
Our
saying, why would you
this
want
is
to be
our motherland.
integrated with the people that you claim to not like?
When you say integrated, what you
Dan,
mean?
Dan,
We live
did
here,
your people not
dumbass.
did, did your people not sell us?
No,
Hmm?
I'm sorry, Professor. He's wasting
I'm
time.
gonna
I
hold
didn't
on,
mean to
hold
No.
on. I'm
interrupt.
gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you again. Did your people not sell us?
no.
Who sold
That's me
us?
specifically. You could ask that too.
No, 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 no. You did your people not sell us?
No,
There's recorded evidence of 4,000 slave trips from the continent to the Americas, primarily South America, over the course of the transatlantic slave trade. Who sold who? Did we sell you, or did you sell us?
my people got sold. That's the honest, best formulation I could find. My people got
Your
sold.
people did not get, Dan, you're still in Africa. If your people got sold, you would be in South America,
Some
the
of my
Caribbean,
ancestors
or
were
North
in
America.
South America and
Prove
came
it.
Listen
back
to me.
to Africa.
If your people got sold, you would not be in Africa,
Listen,
correct?
I
Or is
just said
that,
how it
Preach.
happened. Some of my ancestors were
this is just
sold.
simple. This is just simple math. If your people got
Hmm.
sold, you would not be there.
And I'm saying
It's just simple
some
math.
of my ancestors were sold and repatriated to West
Prove
Africa.
it.
And that's how
Prove
I got
it.
there.
Prove it.
Okay,
What do you mean, prove it?
let me
Did
help
y'all
you.
hear him? He said he's
Let,
a
let
repatriated
me help you out.
African.
Let me help you out. Let me help you
Mhm.
out. Where did your people get guns from to capture your own people and sell them? Where did your people get guns from?
No, we built
Hmm?
some of them.
You don't have gun factories. That's an African coon lie. You don't produce guns.
Should I
Nor do
post?
nor do you produce semiconductor chips. So where did your people get the guns from?
So
Dan, be honest.
do you want me to post indigenous rifles, locally made rifles?
What about the horses?
Made out
No,
of
What
what?
about
Beef
the
Dan.
with
horses?
Stop
pigtails.
it.
Yeah.
Made out of
Some
Stop
of
it,
what?
them.
Dan,
Dan.
Look,
Pigtails.
Ghana was called the Gold Coast. It
Dan,
wasn't called the Slave Coast or
Dan.
nothing. The majority
Your people
of the
did not,
trade that was going on there,
your people did not have gun factories.
Or
You traded
indigenous
for
horses?
guns.
yeah,
Your
And
people
and
still
we
don't
traded
have
for
gun
reverse
guns.
factories.
engineered some of them. Yes, we bought
You
guns.
did
Oh,
not
girls
reverse.
don't count.
It was called the Gold Coast. What do you think we were selling gold for?
Dan,
This narrative.
Dan, if you reverse engineer guns, why can't you reverse engineer a bridge?
Or a
Why
toilet.
can't you reverse engineer?
Or a
Why can
toilet.
you not reverse engineer your sidewalks and build them?
Why can't you
It's
reverse
Why do
engineer
I have to
certain that's
toilets?
walk on
being
red
done.
dirt all the time over there? Why am I
Can we
walking
take
on
a
red
break on
dirt?
Professor
this
just said,
African and get to the
why
hands?
can't we?
Damn.
You know what?
We're in the
I'm
middle of an
taking over the
argument right
stage. My
now.
bad.
You are.
My bad. My bad. It wasn't my intention.
Dan,
Go ahead and land your plane. We're
No, no,
going
no.
in
I'll
circles here.
land it.
All
Dan,
right. So I think
Dan. No one's being nationalistic. We're being clear
Why can't we be
that there were
nationalistic?
crimes.
No. I
There
wish
were
you were
crimes. There were
nationalistic about
crimes.
being
There
Black
were crimes
American and
committed.
not.
There were crimes committed. You and your people were conspirators. We feel a way about it, and we want those resources as a result.
I agree, Mikhail. But
That's
didn't
fine
God?
if
Why do
that's
you?
I
what your
don't know
goal
if you
is.
heard this. Hold
I'm
on, Dan.
saying I'm rooting
Dan.
for Black Americans until the point that you want to.
Why?
Hey, Dan, hold up,
There
bro.
was,
Go
thank
ahead,
you.
Fresh.
There was a country that apologized recently for slavery. I think it was Uganda. Do you guys know anything about this? The president literally talked about them being cursed, and he wanted to right the wrongs. And so he just concluded all the atrocities, all the things that the suffrage that they've gone through is due to their participation in the Atlantic slave trade. And I will send you the
Uganda didn't
the
take part in it though.
I don't care, Dan. These
Sure.
people are just as corporate as you guys are. This is what I'm saying. You can make the correlations, Dan. You keep saying, "Oh, you're
Fresh.
nationalist. You guys
Some
are
Africans
Americans."
are just
No. You
superstitious
guys
What's
are
wrong with
slave
and
being
dumb.
traders.
nationalist?
You've been slave traders for centuries. Please.
What is wrong with being nationalist? And why should we explain whatever the fuck we're doing to you?
There's nothing wrong with being nationalist.
Then
Yo,
what are you
Dan, shut
complaining
the
about
fuck
it
up,
for?
Dan. Let these ladies talk. God damn, Dan, shut the fuck up.
Hey, Black out the hoe. It's all good. I got it. It's all good.
There's nothing wrong with being
Um,
nationalistic. I didn't say there was something wrong with it. I said I have a problem with saying that you are
You know,
against white supremacy and against white
you
people.
you
And
don't get to have a problem. That's where you're confused. Who the fuck are you? You're like a Chinese guy in here telling us what problems you have. Who the hell are you?
I mean, that's
You have
fine.
asked people on the fucking planet that should say anything to a black American about whatever the fuck we do, whether you like it or not, whether you like the way it's going or not.
I mean,
How do you feel?
that's fine.
Under
It's just
what
a battle.
authority?
It's just an
Under what?
ideological
Under what
conversation.
authority? No. Under what authority do
I
you?
have no authority.
Then why do you think you get to tell us whether we should be nationalistic, whether we should like America, whether we shouldn't? You're just used to the Pan-African stateless mentality of you're not supposed to like America. Well, guess what? All of our ancestors did.
Mm, huh?
Frederick Douglass
What?
did. The Buffalo Soldiers did. What were they fighting for? The Tuskegee Airmen did. All of those men that fought
The,
in those
wait,
wars were
you know,
pro-American
you
and
can
didn't want to
love
go to Africa.
America. You can love America.
Dan, let's be clear.
Okay.
Dan, let's be clear. I'm going to be clear with you. If I was born 5,000 years ago, I would have rather been born in Kush and Kemet. But if I was born in the 18th, 19th, or 20th, or 21st century, there's no other place on the planet I would have rather been born than America. Let's be clear on that, okay?
That's great.
You sound like
That
a
that's America as a landmass
You're
or
in
America
Germany. Those
as a
people will
country.
slide your ass into a gas chamber because they're sick and tired of your asses over there. I don't know why the hell you're even talking to us. If I
Please
was you,
don't be
I'd be
putting
plotting and
things like that in
planning to
the
get
air.
to
There's
another
elections
country
soon.
that does not
I'm
have
scared.
gas chambers. That's where I would go. They kept them up there for a reason.
Yeah, Wani, please don't put things like that in the air. Look,
Yeah.
when
Dan,
I want to
Dan,
clarify something
Dan,
because I actually don't
Dan,
like when
let me
Pan
clarify.
Africanists
Let me
say that you
clarify
guys
something for
shouldn't.
you. Let me clarify something for you and make a
Sure.
comparison. I am an advanced thinker
Hmm.
due to my genetic upbringings on this soil or in the soils of the U.S. for thousands of years. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because I am an American, I think, move, process in a completely different way,
Hmm.
being a people of the future. If I was born in Africa, I promise you, I would not be as advanced or as enlightened as I am. I know this as a fact.
Why?
Because your people don't produce that kind of DNA. You don't even do studies, a simple feasibility study, a business plan to see and visualize how things will turn out. You wing it. You're short-term thinkers. And this is why you're always in trouble.
Correct.
All right.
Short-term thinkers, that means that a bird is only going to think about getting the worm and eating it, getting the piece of bread and eating it. He's not going to think about, hey, if I put this piece of bread over the water, maybe I can catch a big juicy fish. But guess what? Crows can do that, but Africans can't. All they think about is how they can get the next buck. When you think that way, that makes a person sell their child's body to a tourist. That mentality, short sighted, not thinking about what's going to happen to this baby that I'm just giving to the tourist for sex, not thinking about sending your daughter out to the tourist to have sex with your 12-year-old, not thinking about the outcomes and the feelings and the emotions and the way that woman is going to grow up, thinking about herself. That's short-term thinking. And I see that mentality every day. Don't think ahead. And it is you how can but really how can you if your mother doesn't think that way and your father doesn't? Who's going to train you to do it if everybody over there has the same mentality? There's no way to do it unless they're taken at birth and raised by someone that teaches that type of thought because they don't have that naturally.
Well, Wani, it's not part of
And
the, it's not part of the culture.
they don't
Go
have
ahead, McCall.
vision. They don't have vision. If they had vision, if they understood calculus, they would have realized that by selling literally your best engineers, your best architects, your best mathematicians, your best biologists to people who will one day be involved in developing the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth industrial revolution, the first and second digital revolution, to a people you will be on an app looking up to while you're homeland, while I was in darkness. You didn't figure it out. You don't do studies. You don't do feasibility studies to determine viability, how things will work, how things will pan out. And this is why you're always in trouble with the Chinese, with the Indians, with the Arabs, with the Russians, with the West. You don't plan, and you're not ethical in your planning.
Yeah. Now I heard a couple of dangerous statements from Dan. The dangerous statements were, I'm paraphrasing them, is that Africans did not sell Africans. I countered that. It took me some time, but I countered it with a scholarship from Black Labor White Wealth, page 111, wherein Dr. Anderson says, Black West Africans, let me say that shit one more time, Black West Africans, since the community was narrowly and divisively based upon tribal origins rather than commonality of black skin color and collective racial destiny. That's what Mikhail was talking about, basically seeing the future. We have a common racial destiny. They couldn't see that. They saw you're this, I'm that, I'm this racial group. And they all look similar, which is kind of confusing when you go there. Dr. Anderson further says, quote, tribal and extended family commitments rarely extended beyond the village compound. Man, they couldn't get along with people outside the fence. How they going to get along with Black Americans? I digress. Anderson further says West African societies that practiced tribalism had a narrow group identity, much racial detachment, intergroup animosities. The practice of black on black enslavement made them vulnerable to united ethnocentric groups like white people. In conclusion, Anderson says, who were seeking wealth and power at any cost. Weakened from within, West Africa had little basis for developing a broad community capable of uniting against a common enemy. Stop right there. Black Americans, they can't unify with each other, so how can the hell can they unify with us? Black Americans, it's time out for trying to help them. Let's help each other. And, when we're done helping each other, when our children are healthy, then, if we got something left, we could give it to them. But it's time out for giving these people scholarships to our historical Black colleges, helping them get into medical school. Nah, time's up, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move on to, I think, 7th Ward had his hand up for a while. If y'all want to talk, put your hands up so I can know where to go. I think 7th Ward, then we'll go to Black Idaho. Go ahead, 7th Ward.
Yeah, thanks. I won't be too long, but one thing I've noticed in our spaces is that we're all about education and empowerment, where we're discussing our problems, we're discussing solutions, we're discussing our past, where the successes we had, the mistakes we made, and how can we build upon that. That's what we're talking about in our spaces. And I'm asking this question in good faith. Are people in the diaspora having germane conversations where they can better themselves? I really want to know the answer to that question if they're having those conversations. And if they're not having them, why are they not having them? I'll yield the mic.
Well, as somebody who spent a lot of time in West Africa, whole summer, and frequently goes to the continent, west side of the continent. Mikhail, I'm heading your way probably next summer. I'm going to the east side. I'm gonna check out that. But I would say no. Dr. Anderson, Brother Seven, um, really kind of laid it out in that article I put in the Jumbotron. He said they have a narrow group identity. So it becomes, there's, I have a master's degree in educational psychology. And what you're looking at with West Africa, if I may pontificate, is performance. There's something called motivational psychology, which I'm kind of a specialist on. That means, why do we do what we do? And there are two types of motivation. There's intrinsic motivation, like Seven. You probably like science your whole life, so you're intrinsically motivated to study science. I want to know because I want to know. Got it? And then there's extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is, I'm gonna join the NBA not because I love basketball, because I'm trying to get my mama out of the ghetto. It's an external factor. So you have a lot of that performance-based motivation in West Africa. I'm gonna get out of this village. Contrary to what the lady said, the West African lady in the beginning of the space, a lot of West Africa was kind of shanty. So it's a lot of, I'm gonna get out the village. I'm gonna get to America to go become a doctor so I can help my village. I saw a whole lot of that. Matter of fact, I was with a physician who was from Ghanaian, who came to America, went to a historically Black college, went to University School of Medicine, became an MD, and sent half his paycheck as remittance to build up a compound downtown Ghana, and that's fine. But it's a performance-based motivation. My problem, that's all good, that's Gucci. My problem with that performance-based motivation is somebody like yourself, Seven, who professes. I see a lot of those opportunities taken out the hands of our Black children, our Black American children, and put in their hands, and that's no longer okay with me. It's time to tell people to hold their own nuts, to stand on their own too, and do what you got to do. Our children, Gen Z, needs us bad, and we need to focus on Gen Z, foundational Black American Gen Z, and give them a lending hand. It's time the fuck out for helping other people who have vitriol towards us. In conclusion, I've seen those West Africans who finally, not all, but most of my anecdotal experience of West Africans who get to that finish line of medicine, engineering, whatever. I've seen them have absolute goddamn vitriol for Black Americans. Coming to me, bragging to me about their medical degree that I gave them from my goddamn school. I'm sick and tired of it.
Let me
Go
build with
go
you
ahead,
there,
brother.
brother. And to the brother Black question. Africa is predominantly children. Let's just be clear. Mostly children. I mean, of course, you have grown men, and many of them are emotionally immature and antiquated and not forward thinking. But predominantly children on this continent. You'll find that the women, the females, are more serious than the males, but they're not put in positions of power or placed in position where they can actually accompany their men in thinking rationally and long term. Women, of course, naturally think about the future because carrying a child for 9 months is about the future. We move on. That's just how we're wired. But men, our responsibility is to bring vision so that the woman can facilitate that vision and make sure that vision is carried on throughout the lineage. Africa is a continent of men who lack vision first. And once you have vision, then it's incumbent upon you to, through a process of research and development, to innovate it or engineer it into reality. That takes know-how and do-how. The men, primarily the leaders, and of course our brother Dan knows this, they don't want to invest in R&D. And if you don't want to invest and will not invest in R&D, that means you don't want to invest in your future. That means you don't want to invest in your youth. And that's why their youth are looking at us. Not saying that the US invests in our future, but we are naturally futuristic. And we had to be that way because when the Europeans arrived in the US, we were already there. We enlightened them to think in terms of futurism. Africa is not an enlightened place, but there's nothing wrong with these children's mind. Nothing at all, at least in East Africa. They're capable of comprehending high concepts really fast, extraordinarily fast. But they have to learn 1,000 things about every one thing so they can understand the importance of critically thinking and not allowing foreigners to come in and think for them. And their men are not doing that. The number one question I get is, Mikhail, what happened to us? They don't know. And these are babies. And even if they're young men, they don't know. You see, we spent our lives investigating what happened so that we could figure out what we can and cannot do and how we move forward. They don't do that. Moving forward means escaping, not building.
Right. Important. That's important. What Mikhail just said. And Black Americans, we stayed here and we built institutions. We built the historical Black colleges from the ground up. And for those of you got some vitriol towards that, look up Booker T. Washington. He built Tuskegee University, which is one of the most beautiful science. It ain't no bullshit college neither, baby. That's science, science-based university in the country, in the world, right? And what ends up happening is what Mikhail beautifully said is they get into escapism, they go running away from their village, and they run into our institutions that we built from the ground up. And what I've seen as professor is compete with our children for opportunities. It's time out for that nice shit, Black Americans. We really gotta do a psychological dig to see why we. I think I know why we want to be nice. I think that comes from the slavery. I don't know though. We got to do a psychological dig to find out why we do that, because we need to stop doing that. Our children are suffering because of it. Black Idaho.
Well,
Oh, go
it's
ahead.
because we have to teach strategy.
Oh yeah.
Once you learn strategy, you remove nice and you remove meanness. Strategy is positioning. Strategy is placement. Strategy is leveraging. We have to lead with strategy. Everything requires strategy, with the exception, of course, of your friends, your family, your loved ones. But use strategy on everybody and everything. That's the bottom line.
Well, Mikhail is a godsend because he reminded me what I was going to say in the beginning of the space when we were talking. Mikhail, I was using the 33 strategies of war, brother. So you brought me right back to what I was saying before. There was a West African woman that kind of derailed the conversation an hour ago. So I said the strategy of war that's being used against us with respect to the title, let's get back to the title, is erasure the first step to genocide? The answer, short answer, yes. So the strategy of that's been hidden us is in the Jumbotron is strategy number 30. Penetrate their minds, communication strategies. Again, I said communication, or Robert Greene said communication is a kind of war. Its field of battle is the resistant and defensive minds of people who want to influence. The goal is to penetrate. We're talking about strategy, like Mikhail just said. What's the goal of these Europeans? What's the goal of this erasure that West Africans are hitting us with? What's the goal? Let's look at the strategy. The goal is to penetrate our defenses and occupy our minds. Robert Greene says, learn to infiltrate your ideas behind enemy lines, sending messages through little details. What's a little detail? Let me go ahead and can I drop a bomb on y'all right quick? A little detail. When I was in law school, I worked for a very lucrative law firm, and the partner who passed for COVID, let him may he rest in peace, was taught me a whole lot of game. And he wasn't even a black dude, but he gave me a whole lot of game. And he said, used to say, Alon, the devil is in the details. You really destroy people with details. So Robert Greene says, send messages through little details. Let me give you a little detail that West Africa does to destroy foundational Black America. West Africans will support Juneteenth and support Black History Month, but what color will they make the flag? They'll make it red, black, and green. That's not us. That's a little bitty detail that will poison a child's mind. How so? A child who's looking for himself, little Ray Ray out the ghetto, a little Montreal out the ghetto will say, "Man, I like being black," and see that flag and say, "What? Why is it?" Kids ask questions. Why is my flag red, black, and green? Well, it's red, black, and green, Black American, because you are African. Bam! You just got attacked. Because that took your land-based identity away from this beautiful United States of America, which fucking belongs to us, and put it across the seas where you are not welcome. Lastly, luring people into coming to conclusions you desire and thinking they've got there by themselves. You see that? That's an attack. Little Montreal, at school doing well. Ain't got food to eat, but he doing well, and he finding out himself. I like being black. You see that flag is red, black, and green. Professor A, why is it red, black, and green? Well, it's red, black, and green because you are an African. So he's gonna logically deduce that he's an African, and you know what? I need to support Africa. No, you don't, Montreal. You need to support the hood. Last but not least, I wanted to give a little game, a little strategy of that tactic of war that's erasing us. Um, Robert Greene said it is imperative in life battles to be able to communicate your ideas to people, to be able to alter their behavior. Greene says communication is a form of warfare. It sure is. Your enemies here are defensive. They want to be left alone with their pre-existing prejudices and beliefs. The more deeply you can penetrate their defenses, the more you occupy their mental space. The more effectively you are communicating in verbal terms. Most people wage a kind of medieval warfare using words, please, calls for attention, like battle axes and clubs that hit people over the head. Stop right there. Haven't I been saying since I've been on space that warfare begins with words? But I digress. Lastly, Greene says, but in being so direct, they only make their targets more resistant. What does that mean? That means you outright say, hey, look, Wani, you're an African. Come with me to this African dance, girl, because you an African. Wani gonna be like, no, the hell I ain't. Leave me alone before I call the police. But if I give Wani a card, say, baby, I like you, and it has a red, black, and green on it, and a rose attached to it. Oh, Alon's so sweet. And in her subconscious mind, she's gonna be asking, why are those colors there? And I'm gonna bring her to the conclusion they're there because I'm an African. You know what I'm saying? That's an attack. Instead, you must, according to Green, instead, you must learn to fight indirectly and unconventionally, tricking people, listen closely, tricking people into lowering their defenses, hitting their emotions, altering their experiences, dazzling them with images, powerful symbols, and visceral sensory cues, bringing them back to that childlike state when they were more vulnerable and fluid. Our communicated idea penetrates deeply behind their defenses because you are not fighting the usual way. You will have unusual power. Wouldn't y'all agree that they, like Neely Fuller said, they've treated us like a subconscious child, us being foundational Black American men and women? But I'm here to tell you the game. What do you say, Wani? Knowing is a vaccination?
Basically, knowing
There
the
it is.
information is a vaccination. You know that someone's trying to do something to you, and you have to, you know, just listen, knowing that that's going on.
Right.
Black Idaho's had his hand up for like 3 hours.
Forever. Go ahead, Black Idaho. Go ahead, bro.
Sorry, everybody.
No, you good. Peace and blessings. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I
Yes.
can.
Oh, thank you, Professor. This is such a great space. God damn, I forgot to take notes. I done damn near forgot what I was gonna say. Hey, Wani, I wanted to say pay at. You said, remember we talked last time. You said, where can you go hang out in Idaho? Come to the pay at. Black Idaho got you. Um,
Spell it.
I-
Pay at.
Pay at. Pay at is very indigenous. See?
Okay.
Look, everything about us, everything about this motherfucking country is indigenous. That's us, gang. That's why I came up here to say that. All right, let me relax. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I don't know. Why do you bring that out of me? Professor, y'all bring that out of me because look, what I'm about to say, I hope Professor and Wani, y'all don't take this as an attack. I just really want us to talk more about ancient American history. Like, I feel like
No cap.
when I, yeah, I feel like when I hear these Africans and all this shit, it's just they like punch it down. I gotta check my wallet, Professor. I feel like I'm being robbed every time I hear these motherfuckers. And I'm tired of it. Look, gang. I'm on a phone right now talking to you right now on a cell phone that was invented by a Black American.
Preach.
I'm on an app right now. This Twitter app was configured by a Black American.
Preach.
I'm scrolling up to see who laughing at what I say right now. Touchscreen was by a Black American woman.
Preach.
I know where the Gulf of America is through
Did you
GPS
see
because
that
of
on
a
the
Black.
maps? I couldn't believe it.
I saw
Yes, yes,
it.
yes, ma'am, yes, sir. That was a Black American woman.
Preach.
So so when we have these conversations, I'm always beat up when we always have to give our greatness to Africa. I'm up here just to say, people, do y'all research and figure out who y'all people are. Look, we have to get our scholars and everyone who is like a reparationist or anyone else who is talking all the separatists and everything else. We have to tell people that investing in Black America is the greatest investment that America could ever make. Because if we invest in Black America, we're only going to spend our money in America. We're not African. I ain't got no family in Africa. I ain't got no cousins in Africa. All my money gonna be spent with Wani. I'll be like, Wani, come hang out with me in Idaho. Yeah, we're gonna throw a couple back. Yo, Professor, let's go ball out in Alabama. Goddamn it, we gonna ball out in here. And then guess what? You know why? And then look, here's another reason why I was thinking about this when y'all was talking. We get to sue Spain, we get to sue Portugal, we get to sue France, we get to sue the Dutch, we get to sue Germany, we get to sue all these folks that come over here. And then look, guess what? Everybody gonna argue with, even Dan. We get to sue motherfucking Africa. Yeah, I said it. Africa. Look, gang, I'm not here to be over here trying to convince nobody that we indigenous and all this stuff. But I'm up here just to say, like, come on, man. Enough is enough. We've contributed, we've done too much, and we've given too much to this goddamn planet to be educating everyone all the time. Ain't
Preach.
no money, ain't no money. I'm sorry, Professor, ain't no money in Africa. Look, you trying to go to East Africa. I'm telling you, fuck that. Come ball out, come ride a horse with me in Idaho, Professor. Fuck that. Fuck going to East Africa, nigga. Nigga, you could save $1,000 or so, and you come ride some horses, come pick some potatoes, and come shoot some guns out here in Idaho. How
Potatoes.
dare?
I
Yeah,
have
I
a
said it.
potato addiction, so I can't go near them.
Yeah, ooh, look, I make chips, I make fries. Look, oh my God. I'm so excited when Wani talks to me, I get excited. So forgive me, everybody who want to
She
come
has
after
that
me.
effect. I feel the same
Yes,
way.
yes, he does. Yes, he does. Look, we made potato chips. Wani, we make everything. So why do we always have to engage with Africa? At this point, look, I've been reading this book called Black Americans Are Indigenous to the Americas. And it's like a list and all the letters that all the explorers had about America. Now why are we like victims of colonialism,
Well,
Professor?
Black Auto, I want to put a pin in something you just said. You said, why must we engage with Africans? It's in the title. The reason why we're forced to engage with them, even in our name title, African American, is because number one, it's erasure. It's erasing who we are. And what is erasure? The first step to genocide.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we're going
So
to
And
we're going to
brother
do a
professor,
room.
brother professor,
you're right. I'm gonna chill on that, and I'm a
um,
Oh,
my bad,
brother
Mikhail wanted
Mikhail.
to
professor,
add something right quick. We'll come back to you, Black
just,
Idaho.
just building on both of you brothers. Yes, it's good to be nostalgic. It's good to know that we're special and very important. But I mean, we have to look at where we're taking this thing for the next 1,000 years. And that requires that we look in everybody's war chest, not just the Africans, not just the Chinese, not just the Portuguese. We need to look and find the money, the resources, so that we can sustain ourselves. It's cool to ride horses in Idaho, but we have a lot of building to do. Know how, do how, and go how. And that's why
That's
we have
unfair.
to.
That's unfair when when people are convinced to go somewhere else to think they're gonna get this
We're not.
black
No, 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 no,
black
no, no, no,
mecca. That's
no,
unfair,
no, no, no,
sir.
no, no.
No, no, no.
All,
Wait,
I'm
all,
wait.
not
Hear
sure if
me
that's
out.
what
Hear
he's
all,
me out.
all
Black
of the
Idaho. I'm
wealth.
gonna let you
Hold
respond,
on.
Black Idaho. Go ahead.
All of the wealth that America produces comes from somewhere else. All of the wealth that China produces and resources comes from somewhere else. All of the wealth that Russia produces in terms of resources comes from somewhere else. I don't know about you, but I want my people individually to be multimillionaires, billionaires, with institutions that are acquiring wealth globally. That's self-determination. That's sustainability. America doesn't have enough wealth or enough money and resources to sustain my people for the next 1,000 years.
Now, Black Idaho, if I may interject, Brother Mikhail, that's true. Like, I had a friend that joined the United States. Did all this dude wanted to do since we were in elementary school was be a sailor. He wanted to be a SEAL, Navy SEAL. He joined the Navy back in the early 2000s when we were in the Iraq War. And he went AWOL. He got kicked out the Navy. I mean, he got a dishonorable discharge. And we were like, man, what the hell? All you ever? I mean, the dude used to dress up in Navy outfits and stuff. Said, what the hell? He's like, man, I'm not going to help. Quote, I'm not going to help them, the United States, George W. Bush steal some oil. He said that's all that shit was about, according to him. Now, I say that to say Woodrow Wilson's crooked ass said one bit of truth. He said the business of America is business, and business is predicated on resources. So we do.
I think that was Coolidge.
Was that Calvin Coolidge?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I
Yeah.
might have it wrong. It was a president though. Yeah, I thought it was Woodrow Wilson. That makes more sense if it was Calvin Coolidge. I'll look it up though. But yeah, the business of America is business, and business is predicated off of resources. So Brother McHale is telling some truth. If we could organize, make some friends, and dominate some resources. I mean, by we, I mean black foundational Black Americans coming together and making some deals with some folk to get resources, we could build some institutions. So there's a lot of truth in what he said, is all I'm saying. But I hear what you're saying, Black Idaho.
No. It's all love, and Mikhail, I'm not coming at you. I'm speaking from a very America first point of view, and I hope you don't like hate me for this. But like everyone's not going there; they're coming here. And don't that say something? Like they're coming to America. They're not going there. They're flooding us. And look, when we're the inventors of this land, this is our land, and everyone keep tricking us out of our blood right, Mikhail. This is our blood right. Now look,
Right. Everyone's telling me that,
wait. Hear me out.
and so are their resources.
Hear me out,
So
gang.
are their resources.
Yeah, I understand. But at some point in history, we got to look back at history and figure out what happened. All this shit that's going on, and the ships, the numbers, and the math isn't math. And every time you go to Africa, you're getting robbed. They're
Right. What
stealing
happened to
land,
us?
Mikhail. They're stealing
I
land.
got
They're
it.
doing all type of stuff out
That's
there
done.
to Black
What happened
Americans.
to us? What happened to us was economic and technological redlining. Economic warfare was waged on us. Technological redlining was put on us, in spite of us producing 50,000 patents. Easily, we would have developed many Silicon Valleys. Easily, we would have developed many trading posts to acquire resources globally. We were shut out the game the minute we were considered so-called freedmen. That's what happened.
I can't. I'm not here to debate you. I can't articulate what I want, and so I'm not going to go that route. All I'm here to say is that Black Americans in America have to start doing their research and start walking around in America like this is our shit, because it really is. We let all these Europeans and Latinos and everyone else say that this is ours, and they try to Africanize us to make it seem like this is not our place. That's my argument,
Great
Mikhail.
one.
Mikhail,
Great
that's
one.
Mikhail, Mikhail, that's my
I'm with
argument.
you, beloved.
All right.
I'm with you, beloved. We walk around, and then what?
And then what do you mean, then what, sir?
These are just psychological positionings that we just have to get to, instead of feeling like we have to like the white boy to live here, and all these other mindsets that people have. The Pan-African mindset, where they make us feel stateless. They say that they don't like America. A lot of this is psychological. Once we embrace our homeland, which is here, I think we'll be in a more stable place. Really, it's we just have we're unstable because of Pan-Africanism.
Right. It destabilized us.
It destabilizes us, and that's what we're trying to fight for. We know we need to have people like Mikhail do international outreach and do more things, of course, or we can't be successful unless we go forward. But we do. I neglected traveling in America, driving through towns and going, oh yeah, there's a cow, and keep moving. And I found that there's a lot of Black history in all of these places, and
Right.
you can travel in America and see everything that you could see anywhere else. Same waterfalls, beaches, all kinds of stuff that we just don't pay attention to. Anyway, yeah, Idaho is an interesting place to
No, no,
visit.
no, no, and I'll chill right here. I just want to say to everyone that it breaks my heart that people get so excited about Africa, but they don't even realize that Idaho was discovered by Black Americans. Boise, Idaho was discovered by Black Americans, and no one even knows it
I
because
didn't know that.
They have a
Yeah,
black.
that
They
because
have
we
a.
are,
They
yeah.
have a Black American museum.
Wow.
Yeah, and no one because we're so indoctrinated and so hoodwinked to think that our home is somewhere else, but this is our shit. So look, Mikkel, I'm not
No,
coming
brother.
at you. No, no,
No,
you
great
got
one.
it.
I'm here.
No,
No, I'm here, and I know this is not our home. What I'm saying is, I'm excited about wealth creation,
me too. I want
and
money
there's
too. I'm
wealth,
balling too.
and there's wealth, and there's wealth. There's more wealth outside of the U.S. that can be acquired than we could ever acquire inside of the U.S. That's the point I'm making.
Right, brothers. If I may interject, y'all really are saying that. Well, not y'all not saying the same thing, but what you're saying is very complementary. The first step is we need to embrace our land-based identity in the United States, and once we embrace our land-based identity and organize, then we can reach out to um, an allied front in the diaspora. Well, hell, to Mikhail, he's already there, and start making some deals to bring some of those remittances over to the United States. So both of y'all are saying, both of y'all are absolutely true. In the jumbotron, I put a patch, a military patch from the AFRICOM for the last what 9 years. The Marine Corps is in Africa, setting up a base there, and I'm not going to tell y'all nothing classified, but I will say, generally when the military goes somewhere is something there worth getting. So Mikhail is basically saying we need to be ahead of the curve, because America's already trying to get resources over there. There's something over there's a material over there that's responsible for cell phones that only grows in the Congo. I forgot what it's called, but we're
Cobalt.
Cobalt.
it's something else. Is it
Oh yeah, there is another thing
Cobalt
people
grows other
grow.
places. I forgot the name of it. It's
Coltan.
What considerite, the stuff where you get the
yeah,
tin?
there you go. And what do you call it?
What's it called?
Consider it.
It's the rock. The it's a rock, considerite. And from it
Doesn't
you
sound right.
extract tin.
Wow. What's the thing seven? I know you're a science professor. What's the thing that is responsible for the screens in our cell phone? It's another thing over.
Uh Gallium?
That's it.
Coltan. That's
I think it's
coltan.
gallium. I'm not quite sure.
It's one of them, but
What is it? Dan,
It's coltan.
Mom,
Coltan.
it was
coltan.
it's only in the Congo or something.
Coltan. Coltan.
Yeah, it's
Never mind. None of those sound
It's
familiar.
in the, because it's rare and it's in the Congo. And from my view, it looks like we may be positioning to protect some of those
Well,
resources.
if we buy Greenland, won't be able to get a lot of oil from it.
Yep, drill, baby, drill. God damn
I
it.
bet you there's plenty of
It'll
oil
be a
under.
hard thing to drill in because
I
of
don't. It's not going to be easy
because of
to
the weather.
drill. Oh yeah, it's hideous.
Mm.
You are
And
going to
then if you
freeze
have
your
a
butts off.
deep water horizon accident, damn, that'd be
You're
fucked up.
you are going to be cold. Really cold.
Is it Antarctica cold or a little better than that?
Uh, it's about the same. Those poles are very cold,
Wow.
but interesting. But I love them though.
I need to get out and see Greenland. But yeah, if we buy it, that'll be a sovereign territory. Ladies and gentlemen, we forget that Alaska is not that old. I mean, Alaska was recently bought, relatively recently bought. So
I didn't answer that second part of the title.
yeah, we've had such a dynamic space that we didn't even get to it. So go for it. Are Europeans guilty of American slavery, Wani?
Well, when you think about it, you might say, why should Slovakia pay? They didn't colonize anybody. We're not speaking any of their languages. What did they do? Here's why every country in Europe is guilty. See, the Germanic royal families were in castles all over Europe, ruling all of those countries. And those countries were dumpy, okay? Dumpy with peasants and when they started to colonize, all of those countries all of a sudden had really good architecture, very good infrastructures. They built their countries up. Dumpy countries with nothing. They even still have squat toilets over there. So not all of their infrastructures got built up, but because each country had a royal family, those people got money. So even if the Spanish did most of the heavy lifting, and the English did things, and the French did things, and the Portuguese did things, that money still went to Germanic families. They're all Germanic. Doesn't matter whether they say they're Spanish, they're Habsburgs. Doesn't matter whether they say they're Queen of England, they're still Germanic. They're from Germanic backgrounds, and they push that money all over Europe. So all of those European countries, even the ones we don't haven't been in touch with, they benefited, and they have beautiful architecture all over Europe as a result of stealing the wealth from every speck of the land on earth. Any questions?
I think you were very clear with that. And that touches on a whole nother subject of you know what I'm saying, who controls the world? Are they all, you touched on this the other day. It seems like the leaders all over the world are of Germanic descent, of a specific lineage. Even one
Oh,
of
yes.
even one of the most popular air quote melanated leaders of all time, Fidel Castro. I recently found out that he was you know what.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
really? Oh, boy.
Oh
He's
yeah,
Jewish.
yeah. There you go.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Very,
Justin
very
Trudeau's
weird.
daddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Very weird.
So what's this really about?
It's a conspiracy, not a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm. The black. What's on your mind, bro?
What's going on, Professor? One and everybody else in the room.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I think Tyrone was before me, but
Oh, okay. Tyrone, if you want to go ahead, go ahead. I lost track.
I know y'all done see my hand up here. I know y'all done see my hand up
Oh,
here.
Tyrone, real talk. Do you have your hand up right now? Did you have your hand up?
He
Yeah,
did.
man. Shoot, look,
It,
I think I gained like three extra muscles in my arm.
hey, real talk. On my screen, for
Ooh.
some reason, it's not showing all hands. I didn't see your hand, Tyrone.
Nah, it's okay. I needed to work out. I'm about to do some push-ups after this anyway. Hey, man, I just wanted to say, y'all doing a great job. You know what I'm saying? Keep up the great work. I'm just over here making my money, minding my business. I just came on just to say what's up. I saw housing up here before. I wanted to still ask him if it was really cold in New York, but other than that, the sun's been coming out in Atlanta. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was warm. I live in Atlanta, and it's warm here. Um,
Yeah,
but it was cold the other
I,
day. We walk around here sick, man. We went to work out, and it was freezing the other day, and today is warm. I got on shorts. This shit's confusing.
yeah, it's a little confusing. So anyway, man, I just wanted to say, keep up with the great work. I just wanted to touch base. I've been, back and forth doing some other things. So anyway, y'all keep up with the great work. Peace out.
I appreciate you, bro. No doubt. The general, uh, the general 1865. What's on your mind? And you know what, the black. I just totally skipped over you.
no, you good. He was up next anyway, but I guess they fell asleep.
Probably fell asleep.
But
Go ahead, black.
yeah, y'all know I'm big on this trying to lay a new path for this golden age that we in. Because I I was rewatching this PBS documentary that we hounded Skip Gates about last time. Uh, and it reminds me of how they they showing us how they kind of usurped us and how we got to the point that we are at right now with this delineation. And when you look back, our elders was doing the same thing then when it came down to the first American first movement. And it's funny because it time doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. It's either we gonna play the same song and change a couple of notes like the essays do with they little music, or we gonna innovate and actually make a new genre in this new gilded age. And right now, it seems like we're going to create a new genre where no one can play, and it can't be duplicated again. So I'm happy that we're starting to like mend the boundaries and differences between our American factions of black folks, and we all just really starting to discover that it is us against them at the end of the day. No matter how we feel about each other, it the the historical context of how these people have came over here and treated us and played wolves in sheep clothing has just shown that we understand why all these tropes was made against our people when it came to how we behaved with around others, and why we gatekeep a lot of things, and we made different lingos and different meanings to stuff because uh, people do come here and try to pretend to be like us and try to blur the lines and confuse each other. And watching Gay Edgar Hoover and how he used a lot of Caribbeans to usurp us and then turned around and still stabbed in the back just shows how these folks haven't learned from their elders, but we continue to switch things up and learn from our elders. I just hope that this go around be the final go around that we have to deal with all these other people, and the white people that we do uh want to deal with, which are the so-called WAFs, that understand that they don't want to battle us, they just want to be next to us. Hopefully they understand that continue to bring in white immigrants here is against their better favor, and uh, it won't benefit them because they're going to continue to go through the same cycle too of their white people not associated with them, kind of like how you say when you bring up the example of the new Egyptians not identifying with the older group of Egyptians. So I just say let's continue to delineate and find different ways and different strategies to go around these folks so we can see who are really allies and who are really just here to soak up game so they can manipulate or infiltrate. Cause these people are kind of good actors. I could give them that. You know what I'm saying? If you could make some spray to hide their hairline and they get around a couple of groups of people, yeah, they can trick some folks. So yeah, let's just be aware.
White
Hey, go
people,
around.
yes.
Yeah,
White
make
people
sure
are
you got a
dumb.
bottle of spray with you so you can spray hairlines, makeup, check weaves. Look,
It takes a while for the white girls to catch on, but they do finally catch on.
yeah, see, I'm glad the white girls starting to know the difference too. Cause look, especially after they have they first little baby, they understand they get the right black jeans that they thought they was gonna get. Like, hold on, that was a little
Don't
too much
dog them like
African in
that.
there. They thought they son was gonna play basketball. He ended up a tennis player. So just be
That's
aware.
hilarious. Well, I appreciate you, the black. If you want to speak, raise your hand. For some reason, my screen's not letting me see. Hey,
Agent Z. Agent Z.
come on, Agent Z. I don't even see him up here. Oh, I see you.
What's going on, y'all? What's up, Professor? What's up,
What's
Wani?
up,
How y'all
brother?
doing, Ron?
Yes, sir.
Not much, man. Not much. To take it back to the topic of the room, is erasure the first step of genocide? I would say yes. I noticed myself, from what I've seen, if I looked around in modern history when the genocide was committed, they always mess up the people's ability to have a proper education. Um, they always take away their rights for guns and weapons to defend themselves. They always mess up their housing. Um, and the first step to that is definitely erasure, in my opinion. Um, Also, as far as all Europeans uh, guilty of slavery in some shape, form, or fashion, I would say yes, in some shape, form, or fashion, because a lot of the things that we were harvesting when we were enslaved, most of it was shipped back to Europe, and I'm sure that it got to some of those other places that Wani had mentioned earlier. Even another thing too that I wanted to speak on was we were talking about the Portuguese building that port for slaves to be exported. You know, it's nothing new up under the sun. If you go right now, and I seen a video yesterday actually of a guy in Ghana. I guess it was like an American, a black man, videotaping it and asking this guy the question, which was what is that port that's right there? They was like standing in the city on top of a building. You can see the big port being built. And the Guyanese dude explained that that port was being built by China. So um, I would say the same thing is going on right now today as was going on then. Just like China didn't build that port for free, they built it because the Guyanese don't have no way to. They're not a seafaring people like that, and they don't have no way to bring it to China. So you know, if you're gonna let me come into your land and take your resources for little or nothing, damn right I'm gonna build a port there too. So it's no different. Like someone said earlier, they're big on giving up things and trading things, and it's nothing new up under the sun. So you know, from seeing what I seen in that video, with that guy explaining that port was Chinese, and it's no reason why I shouldn't believe or should know no better that uh, the ports for slaves were built with Guyanese compliance or those kingdoms from that land back then, because it wasn't Ghana back then, but those kingdoms, without those kingdoms complying, those ports wouldn't have been built. So I land my plane there.
Yeah, it's really clear. And ladies and gentlemen, that kind of shows where they are mentally. And I hate to generalize, but really, from the evidence I have off of the spaces, I haven't heard an apology yet from West Africans. They want to play victim and no, 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 no. It's very clear. The scholarship is very clear that African tribal chiefs, Dr. Chancellor Williams, Dr. Claude Anderson, and Dr. John G. Jackson. Should I just keep going into ad infinitum? Like I put it in my book. Speaking of which, if you want to purchase my book, my go to the jumbotron and look for our story publication. As a matter of fact, I'll put it in there again. Put $25 on our the Cash App and put your full name and address, and I'll mail it out to you in probably tomorrow or Thursday. Now, if you last batch of books ordered, a large number of people ordered some the other day, Monday, and some people didn't put their name and address in Cash App. Put your name and address in the Cash App apparatus, and I'll send it out to you. But in my book, I have rare scholarship that tells you about the slave trade, about the psychological methods used, and I dibble dabble in secret societies, how certain secret societies were complicit. This whole thing is, like Wani said, a conspiracy, and it all points back to a certain group of people. I'm gonna leave that alone. But anyway, I agree with the
Notice
last
when we
speaker.
say conspiracy, it sounds like conspiracy means it's not proven.
Like woo woo.
Conspiracy theory means that it's a theory, but conspiracy means, yes, you're conspiring against me.
Yeah,
They
the word conspiracy
they
was
ruined the word.
Well, I was told that the word was created by the CIA, it's brilliant. You create a word you remember we say words are weapons is warfare, right? So you define the reality of a situation that can fuck you up, right? And you make up a word for it, and then you make the word woo woo, make it ooh. So when you're trying to define what's happening, people automatically get woo woo around you about conspiracy. You're right, conspiracies happen, and it's a conspiracy. Um, Again, if you want to talk, raise your hand.
They said the idea that the CIA created the term conspiracy theory is a conspiracy theory.
Wow.
That's funny. But
Mm.
they did want to make it look like you're crazy. They do that with everything they don't want to deal with. Doesn't even matter what it is.
They got it down packed. They got the protocol down packed with psychiatrists and psychologists on
Mhm.
deck. Um, oh dang, is something I want to say so bad. Let me think about how to say this. Well, there's an American hero. He served as a captain in the United States Navy named James Forstall. Um, wow, what a powerful topic. This is off the topic, but it's so powerful. So if y'all look up Majestic 12, type in Majestic 12, that was a panel of 12 men who, some military, some government, some former military, who were to discuss top secret, above top secret Q clearance type stuff, um, and make decisions. Well, long story short, there's a rumor that this is so deep, y'all, and it's off topic, but I got to do it because we're talking about conspiracies. So there's a rumor that when we start testing nuclear weapons, we got somebody's attention who wasn't from the planet. The nuclear weapons were sending off some frequency, or that we got let's just say we got a whole lot of attention from testing nuclear weapons, and a group of visitors came to tell us to stop doing that. Now, Majestic 12 was a panel of politicians and former high-ranking military intelligence analysts that were allegedly, I said allegedly, dealing with these special visitors. Well, on that panel of 12 was a hero from World War II named James Forstall. It's a Navy boat named after him, USS Forstall. Well, James allegedly was one of the Majestic 12 members who was like, you know what, the public need to know about this. And the powers that be was like, hell no, the public don't know about this. Long story short, back to what Juan was saying about conspiracy, James Forstall allegedly told his brother that I'm telling the public. And immediately they had a apparatus of psychiatrists and psychologists to say, oh, he's crazy. And they committed him, took him to the top of Walter Reed Hospital, top floor in DC, and James Forstall allegedly committed suicide. Only problem is his thumbs were broken. So that's already a reason why I brought that up is if you start spilling the beans, they already got a protocol in play to say you're crazy and then have you commit suicide. You know, so it's really interesting. Um, anyway, that was way off topic,
Dan
guys.
has his hand up.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah. I heard somebody say that. Yeah, I think it was you, Professor. You said that you've not heard anybody on the stage apologize for the slave trade, but I think I've said this multiple times that I personally can't even do that because some of my ancestors were slaves in Brazil, repatriated
Okay,
to
prove
Africa,
it. Prove
and
it.
some other of
Okay,
my
prove it.
ancestors were slaves in
Okay,
some of
prove
the
it.
dungeons, and like they were domestic slaves.
The dungeons that the Africans didn't build.
He's proving my point
Yeah,
exactly.
it
Who caught him? The white boy in his butterfly net.
Mhm,
it
mhm.
it doesn't matter.
I gotta
It's
see
just
this
my
butterfly. I
lineage.
gotta see
I'm
this
just telling
butterfly
you,
net.
like I
It's
can't.
just gotta be a mother.
Excuse me.
I said I gotta see this butterfly net that the white boy was using. It's got to be something special.
I mean, if you want to make a mockery of
I do.
slavery
I
or
want to make a mockery of
getting
you
caught
lying
by
about slavery.
white people, is, I don't know, that's kind of weird.
What's weird?
I don't know, like laughing at the fact that some of my ancestors were caught by white people.
Hmm. White people. Can you imagine white Portuguese men running around, running up on African
You do
individuals?
realize that some of them were melanated, like some of them were
Melanated
mulattoes.
Portuguese. Okay.
Yeah, from
So now
maybe
we
like
have a
other
bunch of,
ports and whatnot.
okay.
Excuse me.
So a bunch of yellow guys were chasing you around the coast now. Is that what
I
we're
mean,
doing?
with a gun, it's not that hard,
Okay.
especially if you're on the
Okay.
coast.
All right.
And I've posted it multiple times.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the reason why I can't say that. It would be like, I don't know, a Black American apologizing for slavery to a Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's
You're
not really
in
fair.
Africa. You are on the land of the slave sellers. Just like white people here in this country, they benefited. Okay. They benefited.
My
No matter what European country they came to an already built country that was built by my people, and they participated in racist activities here. Not to mention their countries that they came from benefited from colonization. So yeah,
Facts.
Polish person
Whoa,
over
benefited from
here.
colonization.
Yeah,
Colonization is a form of slavery. How can you benefit from slavery?
what? European people benefited from colonizing. So it
Oh,
doesn't
okay,
matter
okay.
if the
I thought you were saying that
it
the
doesn't
African
matter if the
countries.
colonist was British and they were in Ghana. When they were colonizing and stealing resources, they got spread through all those Germanic royal houses, distributed.
Wani, let me ask him a question because he's like proving my point. So, Dan, you're Ghanaian, right?
Yes, sir.
Would you agree that the two of the main slave selling centers are on the coast of Ghana, being Cape Coast and Elmina? Would you agree to that?
Um, yeah, I guess there's over 40 slave castles or dungeons. I prefer calling them dungeons than not castles on the coast. So yeah.
I'm sorry. Somebody kissed me in my back of my neck. All right. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. So Dan, given the take the roll with me for a minute. So, given the fact that you agreed that Cape Coast and Elmina are on the coast of Ghana, they're
Hmm.
on Ghanaian land, and
Hmm.
these two castles or dungeons, whatever you want to call them, sold slaves to America, right?
Hmm.
Um, do you think, as a Ghanaian citizen, it would be appropriate for you to apologize on behalf of Ghana?
It wouldn't be because it's how you're framing it is as if the people building those castles were my people. Meanwhile, there's names to those
Oh, so you're
castles. None of these
pivoting. You're
castles have
pivoting.
local names.
But they are your people if you're
You're
from Ghana.
pivoting. Yeah, you're
Okay,
pivoting.
let me put it this way. If a
No,
European
you're from
person is
Ghana.
born
You're
on the
from
Gold
Ghana.
Coast, which is Ghana, does that make them Ghanaian?
You're from Ghana.
You
You're
from
not a
Ghana.
European.
And Ghana was complicit.
And Ghana was not complicit.
Yes, they
Ghana is
were.
recent.
No,
The
no, no, no,
Gold
no, no,
Gold
no, no,
Coast was
no.
complicit.
You're
Right.
not gonna
And the
pivot.
Gold Coast
You're not gonna
was
be
a
a
colony.
you're not gonna be a goddamn ghost country. Do you understand? Because
The
you
Gold
are
Coast was a colony.
shut up. Because you request reparations in your current country name. You
I,
don't
I
get to
don't I
jump
don't
in it.
agree. I don't agree to it.
You don't get to jump in and out of it. Once you drop your drawers and say, Ghana wants money for being colonized, they stole my people. Do you think everybody is as
Right.
stupid as Africans are?
That's it, Wani. That's
You're
it.
not smart. No one thinks that your people were stolen. They know that they had a transaction with the west coast of Africa.
check
for
check the,
500 years. What are we doing? This wasn't one transaction. This is centuries. And you think people don't know what you're doing?
wanting at even at let's look at Cape Coast, Elmina, just one slave dungeon. That slave trade went on so long that the Portuguese eventually gave it over to the Dutch, and the Dutch gave it over to the English. You had three different white groups getting control over it. Like
You
this was
tired the white people out.
right.
Okay, great. So no black group ever owned it.
It was in Ghana, sir, and it was protected by Ghanaians, sir. It's not my fault that stupid mismanagement was done. That's it. See, Wani, that's what it is. It's that dumbass.
Did you see the cannons on
I
the
sure
land?
did. I sure did. And I saw the
Okay.
villages all around it. You know what I'm saying? Wani, people think folk is stupid. What they want me to apologize for is that they were so dumb that they didn't know how to take control over their own industry. According to Dr. Claude Anderson, page 113 of Black Labor White Wealth, fourth paragraph, he says the self-destructive attitudes of tribal chiefs have yet to fully be explained or understood, but historian Norm Combs offered an explanation as to why the chiefs so willingly traded their valuable resources to European and Arab traders. According to Combs, African tribal chiefs willingly participated in such questionable trade practices because West African economies were subsistence based, therefore, people were satisfied with the status quo and saw no need to accumulate wealth and power. Um, this self-destructive, listen up, this self-destructive tribalism, self-enslavement, and lack of concern for wealth were interpreted by Europeans as signs of inferiority. They believed that these uncivilized, childlike heathens neither appreciated nor deserve their God-given wealth. So, sir, with all due respect, you and your people let these damn fools come up here and treat you like a heathen and say, this is my castle. If that shit,
Mhm.
I double motherfucking dare somebody to come up in the hood talking about this is my castle and I'm going to enslave women and children and frequently rape women in front of the men. Let some brothers in the hood find out about that shit. Let this
Yeah.
shit happen
Uh,
in
See,
Memphis.
these are
I
cultural
find that
things.
argument.
These are cultural things because like the Himba men, they say, here, you can have my woman to keep you warm. They offer the women, they don't view things the way we do. Just look up Himba women and
What the hell do Himba people have to do with accounts?
nothing. Okay, it's a
Okay,
separate group.
Well, well,
sure.
well.
I'm
Okay.
just saying these different attitudes are different. So when you're getting mad because they're raping your women, everybody doesn't feel like that. Some people do,
Well,
but some people
All right.
don't.
Well,
Dan,
it's
Dan
not in
said
our
what the
order.
Dan said what the hell does a Himba have to do with Ghanaians? I'm saying what the hell do Black Americans have to do with Africans?
Right.
You understand
And
that
That was the
logic?
part I was
that's
gonna
fine.
say.
I mean,
They'll delineate when it
if
comes to
if you have
slavery, but
nothing
when
to
we
do with us,
delineate,
then
it's a
it's fine.
problem.
We'll let
I
Art
have no
mumble
problem
to
with
us.
delineation.
Is that Art?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Art. What you think about this situation? Hadn't heard from you in a
No, I
while.
was gonna address that what he just did because he like I noticed that when you talk about slavery, they delineate themselves. Isn't it weird how they delineate themselves?
Wait,
But then
I
when we
delineated
delineate
myself from
ourselves,
who?
there's a problem. It's really weird. It's kind of catch 22. But I also want to add this other thing. If you look up the scramble for Africa, it took 33 years to take a whole continent. There's no way they could do that without help.
Oh yeah.
But I'll end
Oh
my
yeah.
plane.
Yeah. It's in your face. And the issue is Dan is having an issue like most Africans about apologizing for the slave trade, even though his country was very complicit in it. He's saying it's not his fault. He's a victim, which is bullshit. If he was a victim, he'd be right over here with me. Now, check this out. I had nothing to do with the Army Air Corps, which became the Air Force, dropping nuclear weapons on Hiroshima and vaporizing 80,000 children, men, women, and children, and about upwards of 100 PO United States Air Force Army Air Corps pilots who were down in a prison down a couple blocks from from ground zero. But as an American, I can apologize for that because it was wrong. We should have never dropped bombs on men, women, and children on preschools. 'Cause I'm taking that responsibility as an American. I apologize to Japan for such ignorant. Um,
And who made the bomb? Hint, hint, hint.
oh, there it goes right back to them again. But as an American, I can say, you know what? This is my country. My country was wrong for dropping those bombs on men, women, and children and POWs. We dropped them on our own people. So that's called responsibility, sir. I know you probably, although Dan, really, if I may be 100, no love lost, bro. But I know West Africa. I know Ghana very well. I travel there a lot. And Dan, given the fact that you have had the privilege and luxury to travel to France and Germany, that implies that you're from a family of means. You're from a family of some type of wealth and status. And I would be very curious to find out where your family got that wealth and status from. Could that wealth and status?
I'll tell
It's
you
only one
something.
way. It's only
I'll
one
tell you
place they
something
can get it from
contradicting.
That's
because
what
they
I'm
only
saying.
deal
So
with
this is kind of
people and
bullshit.
humans.
Wait. I'll tell you something contradicting.
Salt
The
traders,
first black grandmaster Freemason in West Africa is in my lineage, but
black.
it's not from my branch.
Uh-oh. Dan, you
You
got to be,
understand? So we just
brother
share a
Dan,
name.
you got to be careful what you say because what Trade Day,
Hmm.
FBA Trade Day, let me know that the he alluded that the Freemasons were descendants of the Moors, and we knew that the Moors were complicit in that goddamn slave trade. So you just indicted yourself, sir.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying,
Wait. One thing, Dan.
yeah, go ahead.
You
Tariq just
Africans
started.
and Africans and Europeans got guns at the same time. Same time. You can look that up. So
West
that whole thing
Africans or
that
just
Europeans
Africans?
had guns
Are
and
you
Africans
just
didn't is.
using flat Africanness right now, or
I mean, you can literally look it up yourself. They got guns at the same time. I just wanted to put that out there because somebody said that Africans didn't have guns, and I just thought that was
no?
weird.
I was actually arguing the other way around. I was saying that we were reverse engineering the guns and making guns ourselves as well. So
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've really enjoyed y'all. Looks like Tariq's space is on. I'm gonna tell everybody to meet up on Tariq's space. I've had a blast. This space has exceeded of my expectations, and I've learned a lot. I'm constantly learning from y'all. I love y'all for that. If you want a copy of my book, go to Our Story Publications. Put $25 on the Cash App and put your full address in there, where I talk about in-depth things that I can't talk about on the space for fear of being canceled. But if Wani already left, so we're meeting up on Tariq's space, and I will see y'all there. Peace out.